Lift your mind, lift your spirit, brother, be grateful. Gratitude, raise your altitude. Even when they doubt you, stand tall, stay true. The world hated us into power. Now we rising every hour. Keep your head up, black man. My brother, we on our way up. They tried to break us, reshape us, erase us from the pages. Took our names, our language, locked us in mental cages. But still we breathe, still we rise, still we strategize. Turn pain into power, now it's time to realize. Gratitude, the frequency, got it to your vibration. Even in the struggle, see the divine demonstration. Every loss a lesson, every fall a blessing. Stand up, chest out, that's a king's progression. You ain't what they told you, you're more than oppression. You will build a world, walking in perfection. So when the weight heavy and the nights get long, remember who you are and stay spiritually strong. Brother, be grateful. Brother, be grateful. Gratitude, raise your altitude. Even when they doubt you, stand tall, stay true. The world hated us into power. Now we rising every hour. Keep your head up, black man. My brother, we on our way up. From the bottom of the bottom where they counted us out. Now we building from within, that's what growth about. They feared our unity, that's why they divided. But truth in the light can't forever be hidden. Grateful for the struggle, it refined the mind. Turn the boy to a main gate, vision to the blind. Now we moving with intention, every step divine. No more waiting on the world, it's our time to shine. We the future and the present, we the answer and the question. We the healing in the womb, we the lesson in the lesson. So I walk with my brothers, elevation, the gold, mind right, spirit tight, and we taking control. Even in the dark, I found light. Even through the pain, I gained sight. Everything we went through made us stronger. Now we rising, and we lasting longer. Grateful, brother, be grateful. Gratitude, raise your altitude. Even when they doubt you, stand tall, stay true. The world hated us into power. Now we rising every hour. Keep your head up, black man. My brother, we on our way up. Don't forget, brother, use your way up. I'm gonna go ahead and get started, brothers. All right. Assalamu alaikum, family. Start by saying, in the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, I bear witness there is no God but Allah. We thank him for making his divine intervention in our affairs in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, to whom praise I forever do. And we thank him for his messenger, Messiah, one whom we believe to be his exalted Christ, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And we further thank him for their servant and divine reminder and present-day warner among us. I speak of our beloved brother and friend, example, a faithful warner, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. It is with their names that I greet you in the listening audience here on our program. With the greeting words of peace, we said in the Arabic language of Assalamu alaikum. In English, it simply means peace be unto you. We welcome you all who are in our listenership today. Welcome our brothers on this call. We must first be brothers. We thank you for tuning in and participating. We welcome all of those brothers who have not yet tuned in. Feel free to join our discussion on the topic, the ego and selfishness, and the general topic, we must first be brothers, which is the basis for why we're here, inspired by the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And I would go even further to say, instructed by the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, that we must first be brothers.
So, just diving right into our topic today, we want to deal with this subject, the ego, part four, selfishness. And it's such a heavy, heavy discussion that we don't want to leave meat on the bone. But I don't think we would have enough time if we had hundreds of years really to really delve so deeply into this subject matter. But we're going to do our very best with all of the great minds that are participating in our call to just dig into it, to identify what is causing so much disunity, so much disharmony, and really the destructive plight of Black men. What's causing our not being productive, if you will. So I want to start by just the definition itself. Selfishness is the condition of placing one's own desire, interest, status, comfort, or survival above the needs, welfare, or interest of others. The selfish person sees life primarily through the lens of what do I get? How does this benefit me? What about me? This is why selfishness is often called the offspring of the ego. The ego creates a separate identity. The ego says, I am separate, I am more important. My needs come first. My opinion matters most. My success matters more than yours. Once a man becomes overly identified with this false sense of self, selfishness naturally follows. Selfishness is the behavior. Ego is the root system. A tree does not grow without roots. Selfishness does not grow without ego. Many scholars point to Lucifer or Iblis as the archetypes of selfishness. We pointed out last week, and again we mentioned here, the Quran records from Iblis, I am better than he. You created me from fire and created him from clay. Holy Quran 7 and 12. Notice, brothers, the language. I, me, better. This is the ego. The issue was not intelligence. The issue was not knowledge. The issue was self-importance. Selfishness begins when the self becomes more important than truth. The story of Cain and Abel is another example, as we pointed out last week. Cain's desire was not for justice, it was for himself. His wounded ego could not accept correction. His wounded ego could not accept rejection. His wounded ego produced envy. Envy produced anger. Anger produced violence. Selfishness always follows the same progression: ego, envy, anger, division, destruction. Modern psychology describes selfishness as emerging from fear. Think over that. The ego fears loss, loss of status, loss of power, loss of control, loss of recognition. The selfish person hoards because he fears lack, insecurity. Many selfish people are actually insecure. They need constant validation. They must always be the winner. They must always be right. Their ego is fragile. False identity. The ego builds a false image. I am my money. I am my title. I am my position. I am my accomplishments. When that image is threatened, selfish behaviors appears to defend it. The root beneath the root, the ego, if we dig even deeper, the deepest root of selfishness is also separation. The ego convinces man that he exists independently from everyone else. Yet every great spiritual tradition teaches interconnectedness. The scripture says, love thy neighbor as thyself, Matthew 22:39. Notice the wisdom. If I truly understand that my brother's success contributes to my success, selfishness begins to dissolve. Brotherhood becomes possible. Selfishness destroys brotherhood. This is directly relevant, brothers, to we must first be brothers. A selfish man asks, what can my brother do for me? Why didn't I get recognition? Why wasn't I chosen? Why should I help him? A brotherly man asks, how can I help? How can I contribute? How can I build? How can I strengthen my brother? The ego says, build me. Brotherhood says, build us. The ego says, I. Brotherhood says, we. The ego says, my success. Brotherhood says, our success. The antidote to selfishness is not self-hatred. The antidote is humility. Humility is seeing yourself accurately, not above others, not below others, but in right relationship with others, with God. As the ego decreases, service increases. Think over that. Compassion increases. Brotherhood increases. Unity increases. That is why selfishness is one of the greatest enemies of brotherhood. A nation cannot be built by selfish men. A family cannot be built by a selfish man. A movement cannot be built by selfish men. A brotherhood cannot be built by selfish men. Selfishness asks, what about me? Brotherhood asks, how can we rise together? And that is what we're here to talk about, is how we can rise together, how we can get it done. This is an act and a declaration of war against an impediment that hinders us from reaching our highest potential as brothers. The core value of brotherhood is unity, the ability to work together to get things done. Just imagine that. As we point out that Allah created everything in the universe. Then he comes and he creates his greatest creation, which is ourselves. We are direct creation of Almighty God. And then he allows us to be participants in the creation of his universe. He is the ultimate brother. Think over that. That's why it's so important to study God, to study the wisdom of God, because you can understand what a brother is when you study God. You can understand what a brother is when you study his prophets and his messengers, their acts of service and kindness and dedication to one another. Jesus asked Peter the question. He said, loveth thou me, Peter? Feed my sheep. Serve the people, help the people, do good seeking no gain. That is the supreme felicity is to be a servant, and you gain mastery through service. So we must first be brothers is dedicated to helping us to merge in the proper way to build the unifying, fortified wall of those ranging in ranks of righteousness. True brothers, man. True, honest, humble, sincere brothers, man. No big eyes and no little U's, just brothers, man. And the minister told us, he said, that's the best title that we can have, is that title, brother. So we welcome you, brothers, to our call, thanking you for tuning in. Those who you are tuning in on YouTube, those who are tuning in via Facebook, we welcome you. We welcome you in the comments, questions, or anything, in however way you want to participate. But know that we are dedicated to problem solving. That's what we're here for. We're not here to debate. We're not here to have pissing contests. We're here to solve problems. Share whatever God put on your heart to share. Share whatever wisdom that you have, but allow that wisdom to be projected towards solutions and problem solving and helping us to become better brothers one to another and better people overall. So we want to go ahead and get it kicking off right now. We got our brother Louis Ali from the South, and I know he's already warming up, ready to. I'm gonna hand this ball off to him and let him go ahead and take it in the zone for us. And we welcome all of our brothers on the car. See Brother Carlton, Brother Daryl, Brother Dr. Nash, and we just welcome all of our brothers who are filing in as we move forward. Brother Louis.
Michael, that was an introduction to our study tonight, and also what an incredible way to lay a base on selfishness.
Yes.
And a lot of times we underestimate selfishness and where it actually comes from. In the study guide of Minister Farrakhan, study guide 11, he says that Allah, God, is the true center of everything. And I'll read just a little bit from what he wrote and gave to us to study. He says, I say that we delude ourselves because in perceiving ourselves as the center, we lose the benefits of the only one who has absolute power to bring our desires into fruition. This is verified in the Holy Quran, where Allah, God, asks the question, what is the matter with you that you hope not for greatness from Allah? And indeed, he has created you by various stages. See you not how Allah has created the seven heavens alike and made the moon therein a light and made the sun a lamp. And Allah has caused you to grow out of the earth as a growth. He turns you to it, then will he bring you forth a new bringing forth. And Allah has made the earth a wide expansion for you, that you may go along therein spacious paths. This is the Holy Quran, the 71st chapter, verses 13 to 20. I do want to read just a little more.
Please.
It says that, why does Allah, God, question Jesus concerning that which he taught the people? The false teachers of Christianity have deceived a great number of people all over the planet Earth into believing that Jesus and his mother, Mary, are the equals with the Creator. This has served to expand and perpetuate polytheism, the gravest of sins. Just a little more. A person who teaches people must make sure that he or she is clear of the thought of trying to become the center or the focus of the believer. So this is from Minister Farrakhan's study guide number 11. Allah, God, is the true center of everything. We get really off course and we become selfish when we don't recognize the true center of everything that we're supposed to be about. And we make ourselves into our own selfish little Kaaba, and we circumvent around our perception of what reality really is. And since we are so finite, we exclude or discard the major components that could help us on any given day. Now, I do want to say that when the Quran opens up, it always opens up for most chapters, with the exception, I believe, of the 9th chapter, yes, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Beneficent is like an adjective meaning the doer or producer of good. the one who performed kind acts, kindness, charity, the one who confers benefits. And beneficence describes kindly actions to others, unlike selfishness. And so one of the things that you know right away is that Allah God, He is so beneficent, He shares His mind with us. And He buries a portion of His beneficence in each and every one of us for the ones around us. I want to say that again.
Heavy.
There are gifts and talents in each of us that are not necessarily for the self, but are for the interconnectivity of the brotherhood and the sisterhood and the human family. So there's no need to compare the gift. Only a selfish person does that, because the gift that's buried in Brother Michael is for me. And if I have a gift, my gift is for you and for those who I'm around. And so selfishness is rooted in the artificial identity of thinking oneself to be the center. And so last quick point, one of the first things you have to have in order to build anything on any construction site is a benchmark. Everything lines up on the benchmark and you begin the building process. If you make your emotion or your desire the center of the construction site, then everything we build will fail, because we don't have the proper benchmark or center to rotate around. And in Islam, we circumvent around the Kaaba. This is a ritual, all right? It means, and in the Quran, it talks about the heaven and the earth starting with truth, built with truth. We have to have a truth, though we come from different walks of life, that we circumvent around, that can bring peace to the brotherhood. And it ain't my truth or your truth. It is the sure truth, the truth. And it is the center. And once we have that center, it rids us of the selfishness. This is why in Mecca, we take off these clothes and they give us all similar clothes. And we all have to throw a stone, if you will, at Shaitan. And we all have to circumvent around a truth. This is to take away that selfishness that comes up in us based on ego. And so I'd love to hear from the other brothers, but that was my little contribution.
Beautiful, Brother Lewis. I mean, really beautiful, because you really taken us right deeper into the core of what we need to really assess. And one is that starting with the relationship with the one God, having that proper understanding and knowledge of God is the essential component, if you will, for helping us to be anchored properly in our lives. So there's no way around that, black man. Whatever you call yourself is whatever you call yourself. But if you are a human being walking on this earth, you have to go to your origin. You have to point to your origin. And in studying the origin of our existence, we find balance. We're off balance because, like you said, and which I think is just a beautiful expression, when you said we become our own Kaaba, we become our own center. And that's when we are, what the Quran said, blindly wandering on in our own inordinacy. You see, so the nature of everything that is created, it has to point toward its origin in order to draw life, to draw light, to draw power, to sustain its existence, and to get the proper roadmap for how to, if you will, the how to manage this life force that we have been given. You can't properly manage the life force on your own because you didn't create yourself. So you have to go to the origin of creation, which is the God himself. So I just think that's a very, very, I'm just drawing off of one or 2 points, but you made many. Go ahead.
I want to hear something also from Brother Jabril's writing, because we have a selfless man in Minister Farrakhan's example. And I think it's important because as Black men, too often we don't have proper role models. Think about it. Role models. Who can show you how to be a good man, a righteous man, a good Muslim? Do you think that you can just wake up in the morning with all of this negativity around you and learn how to be a decent man without ever meeting and seeing a man? I mean, do we understand that? But I want to share with Brother Jabril. He wrote, he says, and this is on page 312 of Closing the Gap. He says, obviously, people are presently living their lives throughout America and every part of the earth according to how they choose. But how many of them are living their lives according to the Supreme Being's perfect understanding of the root meaning of the universal order of Allah's creation, in which they are born and are living their lives? How much longer will He allow this? Not long. We have now enrolled in a new school of the most exquisite wisdom imaginable, which was established here in America to prepare us for a new world, God's kingdom, which is growing to include all of the people of the earth. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that we are in kindergarten of Master Farad Muhammad's wisdom. We are moving upward in our learning in this class or kindergarten, which has stages. And we as a people have gone through since 1930 to where we are present. My aim with this series of articles is to go beyond the fact of the unusual brilliance in the mind possessed by Minister Farrakhan. It's to witness the fact that he was divinely produced for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's use and our benefit, and to show us a way to grow to our divinity. Okay? We must learn to use our study time better. Satan continues to publicize useless knowledge that they admit is based in gossip, conjecture, guesses, slander, half-truth, and outright lies. Let's be careful of this diversion, distraction, tricks, and lies. So in learning, like, we have to be taught not to be selfish. If our growth is stunted and retarded and immature or childlike, children are naturally selfish. They are not born here as the provisionary or the providers for others. We have to be taught to grow out of that selfishness into our own divinity, Brother Michael. So I just want to share that now.
Absolutely, Brother Lewis. And I'm right on point, brother. Brother Carlton, the subject is the ego part 4, and we're attaching selfishness to it, and we're drawing off of that and building up on how we must overcome this serious impediment interfering with our development and our ability to be brothers. So just to put that on your mind, so to answer your question, Brother Lewis and brothers, all of you, we welcome you to jump in at any point if you're sparked with a thought to share on this subject matter, because it is really serious. It's one of the big devils that has to be killed out of the Black man in order for us to access the higher power that's in us. I was listening. Interesting that you mentioned Minister Jabril today, because I was listening to him, and I've been, really studying him, quite extensively as of late. And, I'm really appreciative. He was dealing with this knowledge of God. And, it's really fascinating when we uh, really get into the study of the self creation of God, because in it is a example for us of how in our existence we develop through these struggles and difficulties. So one of the points that he made was that anything with value or that has value, it has to experience some pain. Anytime you're trying to build something or create something, you're going to experience degrees of pain. You're trying to develop a relationship, a friendship, whatever. It may be pain in the process sometime in order for you to develop properly, to get to where you're trying to go. Most of us, we have a tendency to stop at the difficulty. We don't push through the difficulty, and therefore we end up losing. We abort the process. See, so when we're looking at our development as men, first of all, there is no other man on earth like black men in America. And that's no hatred or disrespect to any of our brothers in any other parts of the world. But because of what we have gone through, it has produced a certain type of substance and awareness in us. But we have not fully accessed the greatness of this experience in our sojourn, because we are still tied to these unfortunately low vibrational modalities, this disease of selfishness and pissing contests, which got us fighting and killing one another. This was the plot of our enemy. He kept us divided, kept us at odds with each other. Now, we all study the Willie Lynch. I mean, but whether it's true, factual, or not, there's truth in it. Enough truth in it that we can bear witness. He used our differences. And the enemy does this today, uses our differences to keep us divided. And we perpetuate our differences, how we look, how tall, how short we are, with our careers. All these things begin to become more important than the value, as Brother Lewis was talking about the value that we have in one another. They become more important. This is a disease, what I would call the real mark of the beast. This point of selfishness is actually a mark of the beast on our character. I mean, really process that with me, brothers, because think about it. Every time you see a black man start to rise in society, it's not just the white man that's going after him to tear him down. You'll find us right there in the mix, looking for something to tear another brother down. It's like we go on automatic. Let me see how I can destroy a brother. This is a deep type of hatred that's been put in our psyche, brother. This competitive nature. You can't stand to see another brother talented. He's talented, but you got to find a but. You got to find a but, brother. It's always got to be a but, not just to celebrate the greatness of your brother, lift your brother up, celebrate and promote the greatness of your brother. We have to find a but. We have to find something wrong to help bring that brother down to some lower degree. That is a serious sickness. See, it's a serious sickness, because what we should be doing as black men is lifting each other up, not worrying about the flaw, not worrying about that which is in us that may not be perfected yet. But we should look at what is being perfected, what is good, and then promote that which will strengthen and help to inspire growth in the other areas where a brother may not be all together. But if you constantly take a man who has been a victim his whole life, and that's black men, really, of the worst kind of hatred that any human being has ever experienced since there was a time. And it's not a pity party, brother. When you really go study the history, you should study. They had to kill the black man. They ain't just put us to sleep, brother. They had to kill us on every level and every aspect of what it means to be a man, brother. Every single aspect of what it means to be a man. That's why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that the black woman was asleep. He said, but the black man was dead. And if you're dead, you need somebody to come and resurrect you out of death into life. These discussions that we're having are resurrection topics, because it's helping us to identify with the causes of our death. the pathology of our own death, the pathology of why our young people are killing each other in the streets of this country. And it's our responsibility, not the police, to go fix that. Why are we still in the kitchens of our enemy begging for crumbs to come from our enemy? That's a problem. That's something that we should fix, and we're not fixing it. You know, our children are being left to be educated, especially in the earlier ages of education, by our enemy. There's a problem in that. Because how are we going to ever be free and we're being educated by the very person who made us like we are today? It's just not common. It just doesn't make sense whatsoever, beloved. It's just not intelligent for us. It's impractical for us to ever expect to go free. And we're eating out of his kitchen, being educated from his system. And on top of that, our system of reward and punishment are mirroring his systems of reward and punishment. See, we have to understand the level of devastation. These discussions are not lightweight discussions. As I said before, they're like exorcisms. They really are, because we got to cast the demons out. And this is what Jesus was doing amongst his people at that time, 2,000 years ago. He was casting out demons. This is a demon, bro. This is a demon when you get something come up in your heart when your brother pull up in a new car. That's sad, man. That's sad. Your brother got on a new garment or something, and something rise up in your spirit towards your brother. Or your brother is intelligent and he says something brilliant, and something come up in your spirit, like who does he think he is? See, we have to go to war with that. We have to go deep within ourselves as men and ask the question, why am I like that? These are the questions I was asking myself, why did I do that question today? You know what I'm saying? We have to ask these questions to ourselves so we can start the process of exploring. Because these are all characteristics of a Negro, need to grow. I remember growing up, my mom used to always say, she used to say nigga meant selfish, ignorant and selfish. You know, pardon me using the word the way, but that's what she used to always say. A nigga is a selfish and ignorant, and that's the truth. I believe it to this day. You know, so we opening the call up, Brother Daryl, Brother Carlton, Brother Dr. Nash. We welcome you to jump in. Brother Lewis, you want to come back, follow up? Because we gonna keep it going, brother. We gotta keep moving.
Question. So maybe they won't be shy. They could answer and chime in. Have you ever felt that anyone dealt with you in a real selfish manner?
Good question.
How did it make you feel? What was your response? And let's start with Brother Carlton. Have you ever, I'm raising the question for the brothers, and we'll come back around.
Good question.
But have you ever felt that anyone dealt with you in a selfish manner? How did it make you feel? And what was your response? Brother Carlton?
Assalamu alaikum.
Beautiful.
Wa alaikum salam, good brother.
Salam, beloved Carlton.
Yes, brother. I mean, I think that I felt that a lot, but I must say that, when I came into the Nation of Islam, I didn't feel that in the beginning. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It wasn't, when I first came in, it was like we were brothers. We was trying to help each other out. We was trying to do things and get things together. We were trying to help brothers get jobs, and we were all proud of or happy for the brothers. I did see a sense of selfishness when it came to the fact that, when I came in, I was a college student, you know what I'm saying? And so a lot of the brothers that wasn't college students would say stuff like, well, why you going to study in that white man's education? And I'm like, I didn't have an answer for him. Only answer I had for him is that, my parents required me to go to school, you know what I mean? And so that's why I'm getting educated. I want to get educated. I must say that conversation had an impact on me, because I'm like, I don't want to be getting his education. I want to get the education of my own, right?
Right.
So I think that was probably selfish, or that was probably a degradation of sorts that I felt that, was taking me away from what I wanted to be and do for myself, that my parents had convinced me that I needed to do, right?
Yes. Powerful, powerful.
I have worked in many when I started being in the nation, and I started trying to indulge in the projects that Minister Farrakhan had set out for us. He had a project called Steal Away. He had the Power Products. He had so many programs that he was doing when I was coming up in the nation that I wanted to participate in because I had an entrepreneur spirit. But then you had that one brother that would see you moving out on that, and they would have something to say about. I had ideas. I had ideas of okay, instead of just selling the paper on the corner, I'm gonna go get subscriptions. I'm gonna knock on people's doors and I'm gonna have them subscribe. And I did it, but then I had a complaint. Hey, brother, what about if you don't come around and give them the paper? What about if something happens and all of a sudden they don't get the paper and you took their money? I mean, just that kind of I guess, it's something that it caused an impediment. It caused a problem because when they said that, they said it around other brothers, and other brothers like, okay, well, I don't want to be involved in that. You know what I mean? I don't want to do that if they think that it's going to, if they think that it's going to end up being something that we rob the people. If we're going to bring products to the people, we can't be afraid of mistakes. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Because
yes,
mistakes are going to happen in business. Mistakes are going to happen in government. We're going to have problems with all kinds of things when we develop government. People complain about the nation and maybe how they were treated,
Ish.
but at the same time, I've treated some certain kind of way, but at the same time, I can never see myself speaking bad on a brother. You know what I mean? I try my best not to,
yes,
because that's what our problem is. You know what I'm saying? I try
yes,
my best to turn my ego away from that because I know that we have a problem with putting each other down. You know what I'm
yes,
saying?
yes, sir.
And
Beautiful.
we do it in such a way, you know what I'm saying, that it lingers.
Mm,
I didn't even realize how much it lingered in my head with some of the
yes,
stuff that was said to me that was negative. Now, I will say that, just like you said, brother, we had a good example. You know what I mean? And because we had a good example is why I don't want to criticize my brother. As I said before, one time in one of our things is that I've never heard the minister go after one of his adversaries, people that came after, that had something to say about him after he helped them. You know what I'm saying?
hmm,
After he supported him, I never seen him come after and say Jesse Jackson. You know what I
hmm,
mean? He always called him his brother, and just we did. The brotherhood
right,
did.
right.
We wanted Adam. We called him chicken wing. Blah blah blah. But the
We
man
going on. We went. Yeah, we went off, brother. I want to keep building, brother Carlton, because I want to go too far. But you really hit some really good points, brother, and I appreciate it so much because you're really right. About, especially about, it's a selfish act to discourage a brother. You know what I'm saying? When you see a brother motivated to do something with his life and he's inspired, it is a seed, and it is very destructive, brother. You're so right. You hit it really on the head. It's extraordinarily destructive, and it lingers. Because again, as I keep pointing out, we don't realize. And I was listening to Minister Jabril say this today. He said, we don't go study. We don't go study what happened to us. Many of us haven't even read a book. And I'm not trying to say go bury yourself in that forever, because I don't like to continuously look at it, especially at this point, because I'm at war with it. But at a certain point, I had to go look and see what happened to us. When you look at the breaking of Black men, it was name calling, it was degrading, it was everything that would tear us up here mentally. Because once you got this mental thing, when you hijack this mind, and we're not going to be creative, it's what we're saying right now. We're not going to go out and be productive as we can. Oh, we can go get a job and work for our oppressor and help continue to build his vision. But doing something for ourselves, oh, no. No. Or if we see somebody doing something for self, then we're going to have a critique. We're going to find a way to tear them down. We're overly critical when it comes to us. And we don't hardly ever criticize the enemy, if at all, in the way we should criticize the enemy. So this beat down that we've experienced for centuries is what's caused us to have these inflated egos. And as soon as we get a little authority, even in the ranks, the first thing we want to do and start lording over a brother that we think we got more power than. It reminds me of when the minister said the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told him, get out of show business or get out of the mosque. He said the way the brother presented to him, was just so harsh. It was so harsh. See, because that disease, that selfish disease, that egotistical based and rooted disease, man, just want to make you go rub it in another black man's face just to make him feel horrible. We got to go to war with this, brothers. It's destroying us. Brother Lewis.
Carlton brought up some points, and it reminded me of what the minister is saying in this study guide 11, that Allah God is the true sinner. He says on page 23, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad always said he wanted to be in his place and not the place of his sender. And he says, I don't want to get out of my place. If we have been guilty of teaching people to make us focus on worship in us, then we must correct the wrong.
That's right.
It is painful to undo what we have done incorrectly, but it is a blessing to have the opportunity to correct the wrong. And in so doing, Allah God will allow us a way to turn the people around and lead them the right way. So if that happened to you, Brother Carlton, that was an underdeveloped person. And our question, and we want the other brothers to chime in, is have you ever felt that anyone dealt with you in a selfish manner? Not necessarily in the nation, but in general, Black people. Have you ever felt like somebody dealt with you in a selfish manner? How did it make you feel? And I'd like to hear from my brothers.
Yes. So any other brother? Brother Daryl?
Brother Daryl's in. Let's hear from Brother Daryl. We miss him.
Yeah. Yes.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers.
Walaikum salam, sir.
Yes, sir. If I heard your question correct, I can't think of one about myself, but when you posed the question just now, you reminded me of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan when he felt his brothers were envying him. So one day at the dinner table of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he brought up the word envy, and the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad hit the table, so to speak, with his fist and admonished the minister to seek refuge in Allah from the envier, something like that. I don't have a great memory.
Yeah, from the envier when he envies.
Yes.
From the envier when he envies. And man, I'm listening to this subject. It's a great topic. It's causing me to do some self-reflection. What else came to my mind? That came to my mind. And then prior to that, though, I was thinking about the messenger said to study the white man. And he makes no excuses for himself. And so brother brought up Willie Lynch. So I went and grabbed my old copy of Willie Lynch, the Willie Lynch letter in The Making of a Slave, because as you're talking, it started to remind me of things I had read in the past. And on pages 8 through 9, I'm just going to touch a little bit of it.
Please, go ahead, brother.
He says, in my bag here, I have a foolproof method for controlling your Black slaves. I guarantee every one of you that if installed correctly, it will control the slaves for at least 300 years. And Dr. Clyde Anderson had mentioned it, that this was like in 1712. So 2012 was that 300 years. But anyway, to go on, he says, my method is simple. And basically, okay, I'm skipping, going down just a sentence or two. I have outlined a number of differences among the slaves, and I take these differences and make them bigger. I use fear, distrust, and envy for control purposes. And then I'm gonna skip down some more. He say, I shall give you an outline of action, but before that, I shall assure you that distrust is stronger than trust, and envy is stronger than adulation, respect, or admiration. So in studying the white man, if these are his tactics and it's envy and stuff, it seems like if we're going to study him to make ourselves to improve, we must employ the opposite strategies. So we must learn, like, you know, we must learn to encourage, um, um, we must learn to encourage and respect one another to overcome this, what he's done. And then also thought about the ISIS papers, because the whole purpose of this conversation and discussion is to effect solutions to a problem.
Yeah.
And so I thought about the ISIS papers and from Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, chapter 12, dealing with fear. And she discussed this linear thought versus this circular thought. Circular thought means, to read right real quick, means moving from problem perception away from problem solution down a diversionary path and back again to problem perception. This may be followed by worrying and obsessive complaining. There's never consistent motion towards problem solution. You know, that's what we're trying to do here. But when you look at linear thought suggests this movement from problem perception progressively towards problem solution, changing step by step whatever needs to be altered to achieve total problem solution. And, you know, it goes on. But I'm going to end it right here. I'm skipping a few paragraphs.
Take your time, brother. Take your time.
Okay.
You good. You're good. You're in no hurry. Yep. Take your time. Yep.
Okay. Yes, sir. I'm skipping a few paragraphs to page 155 of the ISIS papers. She says, thus we are witnessing a collective Black foundering and an ideological vacuum and disorientation. All that remains is for Blacks to escalate tragically their activity of powerless arguing and squabbling amongst themselves and to compete with one another for white supremacy jobs or grant crumbs. Imagine if we were doing for self, that would probably eliminate some of this, you know. Okay, or Blacks can pretend as a diversionary thought strategy that the real struggle exists between imagined Black classes, quote unquote, or between Black males and females. What are our people doing today on social media?
Absolutely.
And then I want to get to this point. This is the point I really like. Every energy and psychological effort is expended at both the individual and collective levels to black out and avoid focusing on the true problem of white-Black confrontation, white supremacy. Because here it is. All Blacks realize consciously and or unconsciously that to engage in such a realistic focus can mean certain death at the hands of white supremacists. Because someone mentioned about fear. So I'm just trying to wrap all this in, and that's where I'm at in my thought process. Thank you, brothers.
Man, you're doing amazing, brother Daryl. Thank you so much, brother. It's so good to hear a brother studying and digging into these sciences, because this is how we crack this thing. We got to crack it, you know. And having been in the teachings for the many years that I've been in, you know, I can hear exactly what Dr. Welsing is pointing out, you know, and from the comparative to linear and circular way that we approach things, and how we really sometimes get in the habit of paralysis by analysis, and so we get locked in talking about the problem, but we don't go toward the solution in the way that we need to go at the solution. These are all areas. I think Brother Lewis, your cousin, I think it was Brother Allen, he said that's what we needed. You mentioned that often. You know, you often quote him about how we have to be more solution based. You know, and that's exactly how we have to think. That's how a God thinks. You know, a God operates on solving problems. That's really in the nature of the Black man. So we have to solve the problem of what's ailing us as brothers. What's stopping us from reaching the pinnacle of success? We heard now here, bro. I mean, whether we in the ranks, whether we outside the ranks, whether we in the church, whether we in the streets, just look at the Black man. We fight everywhere you turn your head. We arguing. We shooting each other up. Look at how we're handling our women. You know, just all the way across the board, brother. the black man with all of the teaching that we done got. Now, it's been a lot of teaching. You consider the teaching that's been going around with the world, with the minister and many other black scholars and other intelligent brothers and sisters that have been doing great works. But the condition seems to be worsening in some respect. And that's something that, why we're putting this discussion on the table and why we're driving and pushing this line on We Must First Be Brothers, because we are, what I believe, in a time where we can actually make it happen. I believe that we got the power right now. I believe that the God's intervention, I believe that we have the juice right now to fix it. And some of us are going to be brothers that are rising into this level of maturity. And Brother Lewis, you mentioned it, when you talk about this low frequency or low maturity, underdeveloped brother, you're right. Some of us are developing. We're developing to a point where, look, if the disease try to rise up in you, you got enough power now to slap it right back down. If it try to come up in you against your brother, you slap it right. You prepare to cut off the head of the serpent, because that's what it is. It's a serpent that's rising up in your spirit. And if you let that serpent continue to grow and take over your mind and your psyche, and you don't challenge it with truth, then it will take over. And before you know it, you will be an empty shell. You will just be an operative of a low frequency, devilish mindset, which is bent on destroying your own people, your own brother, your own family and community. And that's not the path that we want to take. Brother Lewis. Okay, there we go.
The question as brothers we should really think about, because too often we enter relationships and we expect women to give more than us. Is that selfish? If you broke it down to a very primitive level, a very primitive level, the man gives the woman the seed of life. Can you imagine a man being so stingy? He said, "Oh, I ain't giving you nothing." The man is the beneficent giver, and the woman is the receiver. And there are times in our dealing with one another as brothers, even when we can give, we don't give. Charity is obligatory in Islam. We know that, right? It's one of the principles of our faith. Well, I ain't got no money. Well, wait a minute. We were given a long time before they even came up with a dollar. The dollar wasn't invented during the time of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Do you know that? Right. But charity is an obligatory principle in Islam. And it is the giving that really consummates true brotherhood. See, when the Muslims go down to the community, we don't go with our handout, even though we got the Final Call newspaper. That ain't the spirit. We're down there to give a charitable, good sharing service of a body of knowledge that we receive from God Himself. And that Minister Farrakhan reminded us and reproved to us that this information can work in the process of resurrecting the dead. So this is a real serious subject when you start talking about selfishness. Was there ever a time when you and I could give something to someone and we refuse to give it? Oftentimes, selfishness, as you so eloquently pointed out, Brother Michael, in your introduction, is rooted in competition. When I was about 15 years old, I had an after-school job, and I was able to make a little bit of money, and I wanted to get me one of those Toyota pickup trucks. And I had the down payment money, but I didn't quite have all the money. So I wanted my father, actually. to put his signature to help me get that truck. And I would pay for it. But his response was, the vehicle you're driving now is newer than mine, therefore I'm not going to do it. Did you hear that? Now, number one, nobody has to give you a dime of their money because it's their money. And even if it's a loan, they don't have to loan you their money, Brother Michael. It's their money.
Right.
Okay?
That's right.
But I'm showing you the spirit of it because I want each of us, because this is a lot of our pain as brothers. We feel that there were people who could have helped us or given a charitable act to us to get us across the line, but because of competition, Brother Carlton, Brother Tony, they wouldn't do it. Have you ever been in a situation where you could do a charitable act for someone? This is a question. I'm coming to you, Brother Tony, if you can. Have you ever been in a situation where you could do a charitable act for a brother or a sister, and you didn't do that act because you felt like that might be giving them too much? Brother Tony, would you like to respond?
Yeah, yes, sir. All praise due to Allah. Thank you for Walaikum Salam, family. Greetings to all the brothers. Glad everyone's,
brother. Good
you
to
know,
your voice.
yes, sir. I really enjoyed. I was listening from Facebook. I really enjoyed your opening, you and Brother Lewis's opening, Brother Michael, and the original question that Brother Lewis asked, you know, was very thought provoking. And so was the second question, but the short answer, Brother Lewis, is no. And the reason why I have never done that is because I had a good captain, and my captain is the man hosting the show with you, and that's Brother Michael. And I do have to say this because, you know, I've never had no problem giving none of my brothers their props, their shots out. I never have. And I thank the brothers so much because to your first question, Brother Lewis, which was so beautiful, the brother, and I said this before, he shared with us the book as we were young men, The Principles of Brotherhood by Al-Ghazali. And I still study that and share that with brothers to this day. And the reason why I even passed it out in orientation class in Mos 15, and brothers had never even heard it before, you know, and I thought that was, you know, it almost was astounding because these principles of brotherhood, of which the brother was inspired to write the book that came out of the mouth of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, that originated in the mouth of our wonderful Savior, Master Farad Muhammad, who indeed called our dear brother a brother, you know, and that stuck with me. And the reason why that stuck with me is, one, is that there is something that the God himself saw in the original man, that he, despite his condition, put him on the level with himself. Because that's what you do when you say brother. My brother, you see what I'm saying? You automatically put somebody on the level of yourself, despite your accomplishments, despite your power, despite your influence, despite your wealth. You immediately give your brother that courtesy, and that makes an unassailable bond. And the reason why, again, I appreciated this book that the brother shared with us, because in it, when he was talking to us about it, and I don't know if you remember this, and I'll try to jar your memory, Brother Michael, so that you might reach back and share some of that with us. You quote, I remember you quoting out of the book, the Paul's epistle to the Ephesians, and it was 6:10, and you was telling us about putting on the whole armor of God. And and the reason why I thought that that was extraordinary, coupled with brotherhood, because when I went back home, me and my wife at the time, we looked at that, because we had a small group in Iowa, and we had real good brotherhood, real tight brotherhood, because when you have a small group, you have to be real tight, and they had a real tight sisterhood. And so we went back and went over that particular verse, and it says, put on the whole armor of God, that you might stand against the wiles of Satan. For we what? We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers and the rulers of the darkness, spiritual wickedness in high places. Now further on, he said, above all things, pick up the shield of faith, that you might protect yourself against the fiery darts that are going to be hurled at you. See, when we are putting on the whole armor of God, you need that protection for a savior, because your brother, in his mind, he is possessed of Satan. What did the disciples say when they came to Jesus? Why was we not able to cast out this demon in our friend's son? And it was because it wasn't him, it wasn't the demon possessed boy that they were fighting. It was what he was possessed of in his mind, the principalities and powers. He was being ruled by something else. But in order for you to go get your brother without doing harm to your brother, and without allowing your brother in his ignorance and savagery to do harm to you, you have to have God's whole armor on. Otherwise, you can get pierced by those fiery darts, and you'll find yourself wounded. You'll find yourself poisoned. You'll find yourself unable to do this work. But if you know that you're not fighting your brother, when you look in his face, and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, every time you look in a black man's face, you're looking at God. When you look in his face, that is to remind you that that is God that you're trying to save, and that he is possessed or overcome by Satan. And so we have to go in there and get that up out of him. So when I looked at the question, I saw it, your initial question, Brother Lewis, I saw the positive ramifications that had occurred over my life, and the root of it was at the training that I received. I never saw somebody attacking me. Even if my brother had a bad day, I knew that he was overcome by the powers of the rulers of the darkness of this world and spiritual wickedness in high places. So in his anger at me, he's not angry at me, he's angry at the circumstances, but I might be the focal point. So in order for me not to take it personal, I put up the shield. So I let everything hit that shield. And when I put down that shield, guess what? All of the darts are in that shield. Ain't none of it in me. So now I don't have any resentment against my brother, because I knew he just had to get that out. And he might not be able to get it out at work, because this is my livelihood. These is people I got to do business with. I got to handle them a different way. So he's expecting me to have a certain kind of courtesy when I'm dealing with him. He's going to take, your brothers and sisters, sometimes they take liberties with us because they are expecting us to understand. So they're not abusing you because they're trying to take advantage of you. They're doing certain things because if don't nobody understand me, you should. You
That's right.
And that's what we have to understand. I'm going to be immovable in my spirit and in my position of brotherhood, and you will have to walk away from me before I walk away from you. Because that's the kind of brother that I am. And that's the kind of brother that Allah has blessed me to be. But I have to go back and give my brother that credit, because I am the man that and I always give people credit who have impacted me, because I am the man that I am today. And I am an accumulation of things that I have learned, that I have made a part of me. Brother Michael is a part of me. You understand what I'm
Yes,
saying?
likewise,
He
brother.
wasn't
You
just my captain. The things that he taught me, they became a part of me. He is
praise
flesh
the
of
Lord.
my flesh now, blood of my blood. You
Absolutely,
see?
brother.
So I'm
Yeah,
not going. I learned things from you, Brother Lewis. That's why you can hear me quoting you. I heard
yes,
Brother Daryl when he was
yes,
speaking
yes,
today, and it was so inspirational because
yes.
I understand the growth, the development, and the usage, the proper
Yes.
usage of how he's applying it in the proper place and in the
Mhm.
proper space. You see what I'm saying? Because that's
Yeah.
what's irrelevant. That's what's relevant. And sometimes we tend to do things that are not in the proper place. And I learned that from my brother to
Praise
always
be to him.
be where you need it, and then that way you'll be the biggest service to another brother that you can be, and you can get the most out of that brother that he can get out of you. Shalom alaikum. Thank you again, brother.
Wa alaikum salam. Praise be to Allah.
Beautiful, brother.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. And I simply say all holy praise be to Allah, because you already know, brother, I feed off of you, like I eat off your table at any moment. So
And
I
it's
eat off your
very,
I eat off my brother's table, brother Tony.
Praise be to Allah.
I eat off your table any day of the week, any moment, brother, because I've been fed by you so much throughout these
and
years.
that is
Yeah.
a classic example of what we were talking about earlier
Yes.
about the gifts
Yes.
that are in each of us,
Yeah.
but that don't belong to Tony. He gave that to us,
That's
Brother
us.
Michael.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
He's
Yes.
feeding us.
Yes.
And
Yes.
believe it or not, there is no spirit of scarcity.
Yes.
That's the spirit we should be given in. That's what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say.
Yes.
The Caucasian, when he was in the hillsides and caves of Europe, there was scarcity. And so he's in a dark, damp cave where you can't grow a lot of food. And he doesn't have at the core of his psychology the spirit of abundance. He would get so angry every time a woman would get pregnant. He kept a club in his hand and he'd beat women, drag them by their hair, angry. He got another baby to take care of. See what I'm saying? The black man, knowing he's not living in scarcity, he's got plenty, he got to work hard, but he's got plenty of ground that he can till to feed all of his children. So when you're in a spirit of scarcity, oh man, Mike took my point. Tony took my point. See what I'm saying? Now we're feeding off of each other, but when you're in a spirit to where you know there is no scarcity because there's an infinite amount of wisdom that God has put in really the universe for all of us to have and share with one another,
Yes. Yes.
then there's no need to be selfish.
That's
And
right.
this selfishness is a problem in the Black community. As we've become victims of integration, we've become more selfish, and the fastest growing religion in the country is not Christianity, Judaism, or even Islam. The fastest growing religion in America right now is individualism.
Gross.
And gross individualism, where we don't even think of ourselves as even connected to a mother. You know, there was a time when Black people wouldn't entertain the idea of throwing their mom and dad into an old folks center. That's what we called it back in the day. We believed in taking care of our elderly and taking care of children. And the children weren't necessarily our biological children. They were children that had a need. Our nature is to be beneficent and merciful, but balanced, of course. So we weren't selfish people, but we're getting away from that. And the core to us getting back to our true identity and true nature is to anchor ourselves around the center, which is Allah God Himself.
Powerful. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to jump in and just say powerful, and we could pick right back up, but very powerful, Brother Lewis, because that's the core. You said something that was very powerful.
when you talk about what happened to the Caucasian, because what happened to him when he was in the cave caused him to have a very narrow view. He has a short period of time to rule. That narrow view has been imparted into our psychology. That's why the book tells us to come out of her, my people.
That's
That
right.
you be not partakers of her sins and her plagues. We have to have a separation from his ideology and get into our world. Our world is so much broader. Our world is the universe. The lessons say big fields await the wide awake man to work out. So we have a much broader scope. And what happens when you operate on the disease of selfishness, pettiness, you have a narrow view. You don't have a broad perspective. You don't see the big picture. It's so important to get to a point to see the big picture. And if you're not able to see it, it's important for you to have a brother who can share the big picture with you, and you can learn from your brother what the big picture is. Because we need to be able to see the broader picture of what's happening here. You see, and when Honorable Elijah Mama said, ye are all, that we are gods, that we are all Allah. Collectively, he's telling us something very significant and powerful in that. That's the part of the bigger picture, the whole interrelatedness, the whole divine fiber that connects each and every one of us. You know, as Brother Tony beautifully shared with me, some of the things I don't remember because the God might have been using the brother. But what I can appreciate is that what I get from bruh, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm the benefactor. I'm the benefactor of what I get from Brother Lewis. You know what I'm saying? Or Brother Daryl. And as I'm building with other brothers, Brother Carlton, I'm starting to feed. That's the bigger picture. Being able to recognize the greatness that's in your brother, man. This is what we're fighting for. You know, we're fighting for this type of access because we have been disconnected and cut off from the access to what is in our good brother, man. You know, so you made a powerful point. It's important for us to understand that, because when we learn about what happened to the Caucasian, we don't realize that that's who's been ruling us. So we have become like stepchildren to a slave master who's made us like himself. If you go and study, there's a book called The Halves That Were Never Told, read years ago, and it talks about the economy. It really talks about what went down in Louisiana, Brother Lewis, and how they were profiting off of our enslavement, the relationship they had with Britain, and even Texas, how they started loaning slaves from Texas to Louisiana, the whole thing. But they were talking in the book, Caucasian really laid out how savage these people really were. That these were the real niggas, man. You know what I'm saying? And pardon the expression, but I just got to call it for what it is. You got to understand that the whole persona and characteristic and behavior that we call nigga is something that comes directly from Caucasians. Now, I know you don't, it's an identification. Listen to what I'm saying. It is an identification. We are behaving. Now, what happens with us, because we are melanated people, we are God, we take it to the next level. You see what I'm saying? So we on steroids with niggerdom. You know what I'm saying? We go to the whole nother extreme of the illicit behavior. We become worse because we have the God nature in us that gives us the potential to do have a much more powerful impact and expression. But we have to understand that these behaviors are not our behaviors. This is not us. And like Master Fard Muhammad told the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he said, brother, these are not their sins. This is not who we are. That's why we have to gain a thorough knowledge of ourselves. And I continue to say over and again that the black man is God. And it's so powerful to me. The more it's starting to sink deeply into my psyche, not in vanity, not in egoism, but in truly understanding the potential that we possess, the access that we have, the power that we have in the universe, but we got to get out of this small-mindedness, man, this mediocre type of thinking. We think so little. We think so little of each other. Here's that book, brother Tony, you brought up, and I just want to put it up there because that book was truly inspirational for us at that time in our earlier development. I remember being with you and some of the other brothers, Brother Tony, and we were breaking bread on this book, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
we were breaking bread on that book, brother. So I remember how Allah blessed us to come into contact with it, man. And we ate from that, and we've been brothers ever since. And Brother Lewis' question was powerful. because he asked, was it a time that you'd ever been that way? And I can testify for a brother like Brother Tony, since I have known him. I can testify as he was growing in, in Islam. He already had Islam when I met him, to, you know what I'm saying? But he embraced it. You know, I was blessed to see his embrace. But the thing is, he's never been selfish. This is one of the most charitable brothers I have known since when I came into the Islam, brother. You know, from the very early period of my witness of his development, the brother has been a selfless brother. And that has only continued to progress since I've known him. You know, I just want to say that, you know, because it's important to testify, you know, to the brotherhood and build on the good of a brother. Even yourself, Brother Lewis, very charitable brothers, man. People don't know what you do behind the scenes, all the good that you've done with Dr. Ava, how you went into your part. Hell, you even purchased some of our books here, seeded some of our books here where we must first. And I'm not saying it to put you on the spot, but I'm saying it because it needs to be understood that we're not just talking brotherhood. We are actualizing real brotherhood. We got to build solid brotherhood, man. Uncompromised brotherhood. You know, no BS, no chaser, no garbage. Real brotherhood. If I've done something to offend my brother, I expect a call from you. Not I hope you call. I expect you to call to check me. I'm waiting on you to check me. I don't have my guards up. I don't have my guards up. Hit me. If you want, because I already know you, my brother, and when you hit me, you're going to get me right. And, oh, brother, I'm so sorry. I made a mistake. I didn't see it that way. I misspoke. Brother, please forgive me, brother, because I want you to know that I love you more than I love some bonker BS over here. And if my ego, it's more important that I look good. I'll get on here. And that's why I love the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and how he taught us to be, bro. He said, even if you make a mistake in public, he said, own it in public. He said, if you mess up in public and you get corrected publicly. You see, he's teaching us humility. He's teaching us that we're not bigger than the truth. I was telling a good friend last night, they shared a few things with me that I had said to them just subconsciously, talking. I wasn't really paying attention to how it was impacting the friend, and what they said to me, and I thought about it. I said, oh, I see your point of view. And I immediately apologized. Who cares? What does that make me look bad? No, it made me look like a man who got some knowledge and wisdom, and he appreciated, because what I said to them,
like a God.
Absolutely. Right. I said to them, and I'll say it publicly, and I'll say to anybody. I've said it to my children. I've said it to my, anyone that know me. I love the truth more than I love me. You see what I'm saying? Come on, man. You know what I'm saying? I love this wisdom of God way more than I love me. So I will throw me under the bus, under the truth, to receive the truth and put the truth above me at any time. And that's what I love about what we have been given. That's why selfishness is a prison for a man. It locks you up, it keeps you bound and narrow viewed, brother. You don't see the bigger picture, man. The bigger picture is so much more beautiful. Go ahead, Brother Lewis.
It causes you to go to prison, which brings me to my next question. Is selfishness the beginning of a criminal mindset? Let's move back to Brother Darrell. Because I'm enjoying hearing from the brothers, Michael. Is it okay?
Oh yeah, no man, go ahead, brother. I'm letting you go ahead.
I'm asking questions.
You're the fight lieutenant.
Is selfishness the beginning, if not checked, of a criminal mentality?
Yes, sir.
We see what these Europeans have done all over the world. Right. What are your thoughts on that, Brother Darrell? Is Brother Darrell still there?
Yes, he's still there.
Assalamu alaikum.
Did you hear the question?
Yes, sir. Could you repeat it one more time, though?
Is selfishness, unchecked selfishness, the beginning of having a criminal mind, a criminal mentality?
I believe the answer is yes. I just have not thought of the
articulation.
To substantiate what I believe. what I innately
That's
feel,
good.
intuitively
Good. It's
feel is
causing
this.
you to think.
But I know I'm pretty sure it is. But give me a moment and I get back with you.
That's all
I
right.
might
We're gonna
have
keep the circle
I might have my
going.
thought.
I
Okay,
love
yes,
you.
sir.
I love how you answered that. Just so you know, that's really beautiful, brother. Just your initial. Because that's what we have to be. We have to be. I remember we used to be taught this early on in the process. We have to be thinking soldiers. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? And and that's exactly what you represented in that mode. Go ahead, Brother Lewis. I'm sorry.
What about Brother Carlton? You want to chime in on that question, Brother Carlton?
Assalamu alaikum. Oh, sure.
Walaikum salam. Did you hear the question?
I believe I did. You say you basically were saying, how does the being of the self cause us to be criminal? Is that what you were
No,
saying?
it's selfishness. Is unchecked selfishness the beginning of a criminal mentality?
Well, sort of, because we got to understand. One thing about the teachings that we were taught is that we have to do for self. So, when we say that we have to do for self, you know what I mean? Then we're talking
Is doing
about,
for self. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. Is doing for self and doing for selfishness the same thing? Is that what you're saying?
well, I mean, selfish or self, the root of selfishness is self, right?
Well, when you put, well, I could
Let's
let you
dialogue
go,
on
but
this
doing
thing.
for self and doing for selfishness are not the same, bro. You do
Because
understand this, right?
well, what I'm trying to say is that there's going to have to be a degree of selfishness if we're going to do for self, right? So my motto, and I got this from being in the Nation of Islam, is self, family, people. That's my motto, right? Whenever I come on and I do me alive, I say self, family, people. That's my motto. And what that means is that, I have to be concerned about myself, but I have to keep in mind my people, my community, everybody else, my family, right? But at the end of the day, if I do not get up and do something for myself individually in the morning, that means get up in the morning, 5 o'clock, before 5 o'clock and make my prayer, do whatever I'm going to do to get my mind right to deal with this world, and then do something for self, then nothing's going to happen. You know what I mean? It all starts with me, right? Now, how far does that go? I think that the more we become successful in doing for self, that's when that selfishness could kick in. You know what I mean? And we have to get that balance. Maybe I'm thinking maybe we need to get that balance after we've been doing for self and we become selfish. But the reason why we're doing for self in the first place is because we want to be able to take care of our family, right? We want to be able to take care of our community.
Yeah.
And so I think that when people take that the doing for self too far, you know what I mean, then it can become, anything that you use too much can damage you. You can eat too much. Food is good, right? I like to eat, you know what I'm saying? Drink, food is good. I like to eat. But if you eat too much of anything, you're going to kill yourself. You know what I mean? Because food's got poison in it, no matter what. You know what
Brother,
I'm talking about?
I think that's I think your approach initially kind of, it was just jarring because I knew a brother was coming with for the question, but what you said, you brought it home. And I appreciate that because you're right. There is a degree of selfishness that we have to have amongst ourselves, but what the kind of selfishness that we've been building on is this extreme inordinate, which was the latter part of what you were saying, this inordinate selfishness, this disease form of selfishness. But your point, you're right. There's a degree where we have to be in terms of inner development as a people. We have to think about ourselves, and so that could come off as, we talking about how black it's a certain element, so I understand that it's really the bastardized language that we have here. It really comes down to the bastardization of the language. It's not to justify, Brother Lewis, selfishness in the way of the inordinacy, because I think that's what Brother Lewis is talking about. We're talking about the inordinacy of selfishness. But go ahead, brother Lewis. Go ahead. I'll let
Can
you.
I say one thing before one thing?
Yeah. Go ahead, brother.
Just let me say one thing, Brother Lewis. Could I?
Yes.
I look back at George Washington and all of those great men that started this great country and got this great constitution and everything that they've done to make this country what it is today. Okay, these men were selfish. Okay, but at the same time that they were selfish, look at what they built on. You know what I'm saying? Look at what they did. And these men were selfish and they were also infighting too. They were also infighting. This is something we got to understand about them. Observe the operations of the white man. They were infighting. They were debating about this constitution, debating about this nation. And in that time frame, they were debating about slavery, whether they should have slaves or why you got slaves and you talking about freedom. So there was a debate going on and there was a conflict going on, but the selflessness, the fact that they have slaves, the fact that they were doing everything, and there was manifest destiny taking place where they were going to be the rulers of this world or this new world, and they were going to be the rulers of all over the world. This is the same kind of thing that I'm hearing coming out of the message to the black man. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But I'm just
let's have the dialogue.
I think it's a very good point. I don't. Hey, I'm hearing. Just to be frank about it, or John or Muhammad about it. Listen, I'm like, I appreciate the approach, because again, the black man is God. You're raising a thought process for us to examine, to look at it differently.
And that's deliberative dialogue. Huh?
There you go. There you go. Listen, little Carlton. Listen. You forced me to go to the dictionary. I had to go to the dictionary. I had to consult the dictionary. I said maybe I ain't looked up the word close enough.
I got so many books stacked up here because of y'all conversation right now.
Listen. So let me read this real quick, Brother Lewis. So it says while both terms relate to putting one's own needs first, selfish is an adjective used to describe a specific behavior or trait, whereas selfishness is the abstract noun representing the overarching concept or habit. A deeper look, it says selfish is an adjective to describe someone who is acting primarily in their own self-interest, often at the expense of others. Okay. It says, now that's where I think we can start to go into the area that it becomes a problem. It says, and then it says selfishness, a noun, refers to the underlying character, trait, condition, or state of being overly focused on one's self across multiple situations. So just something to kind of put in the thought process. And I think we're looking at it from multiple angles. There's a degree of selfishness or degree of selfishness that one might have to have in order to go free from it. May come off as an extreme, kind of like black nationalism. When we started out in the Nation of Islam, we were very nationalistic. Black, 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 black. Devil, 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 devil. And then Honorable Elijah Muhammad evolved us out of that language that we were using when we were referring to the enemy. He said, call him enemy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then, we started becoming more global in our perspective. We're evolving into that, so just a thought process, Brother Lewis. And we're going
very important, and it's a great dialogue, because there is doing for self, some doing for selfishness, and then others doing for selflessness. Now I see the minister as a selfless man. You understand what I'm saying? And I don't know if we got that definition, Brother Michael, but the quality of prioritizing the needs and well-being and interests of others above your own, typically without expecting personal gain or recognition. And you said earlier in the show, do no favor seeking what? Gain.
Yeah. Okay.
See, this is something, because in order to be a Christian, we're Muslims, but we're Christians too. The first principle of Christianity is not pick up your cross. The first principle of Christianity is deny yourself. then pick up your cross, then follow the master. All right. It's a balance to it. I'm not saying Brother Carlton's wrong. Absolutely not. But part of the balance is wanting for your brother what you want for yourself.
Yes. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And what is yourself?
Absolutely.
What is yourself? Because the
Righteousness.
Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he brought us a knowledge of ourselves. Myself is a righteous Muslim.
Yes,
and I self-lord and master, and God gave me permission to master and govern myself, and I choose obedience. So the balance is, if I do anything for myself that harms Brother Michael, I'm not doing for myself no more.
That's right.
I'm doing for selfishness because I'm obligated as a Muslim to want for my brother what I want for myself. So much so that we had a conversation a few days ago. We used to say this all the time in the nation. If I have a bowl of bean soup,
right,
does 99% of it belong to me?
No, sir.
Brother Carlton?
Yes, well.
Our teaching is
hold on, let him get it out, bro. Look.
The bowl of soup, in fact,
my brother.
The bowl of soup, in fact, belongs to you. Okay, you got a business, right, my brother? You, Brother Lewis, you got a business, right?
Yeah.
Do I get anything from that business? Not unless I put something in it, right? Right? Right.
You hold on.
It's yours. It's yours, and I want you to have it. Right? But if I want to participate in it, then I gotta ask you, can I participate in it? And maybe you allow me to invest in it, or maybe you allow me to be an employee to be able to draw some benefit out of it. But at the end of the day, I gotta ask you, can I do this? Will you allow me? I have to submit to the God that you presented by making this business, by creating this world that I am not a part of, unless you, God, say I can be a part of it. So you see what I'm saying? So
I do.
So
I do, but
that self is what I respect. That self is what I love about what the nation is supposed to be. While I understand, let me just say this right quick, because I heard some things said. While I get what we're supposed to be international, or we're trying to be international in some ways, we really don't have the resource to be that. Because while we have this is something that Dr. Lean said, and that's one of my mentors. He said, while we have everything, we just need to be organized. I conclude.
I do want to push back just a little bit as we struggle with balance. Do something for myself that inflicts pain on you, and be a good Muslim. You can't be a good Muslim and not be able to give charity. Charity ain't always cash. In the book, I Walk with the Great Ones by Brother Abdul Rahman, he talked about Minister Farrakhan having very successful steak and take restaurants in New York City. They had several in New York City, and they were doing real good. They were outperforming what you call Burger King and McDonald's in New York City. Minister Farrakhan was doing martial arts with Brother Rahman. They became sparring partners in the martial arts. And he told Brother Rahman, first of all, he told him that he was a minister. He wasn't just a captain. He was calling him Captain Sam. He gave that to Brother Rahman. He made him a minister. And he told him to send his brother from Georgia up to New York. And Minister Farrakhan didn't charge him a consulting fee. And he loved his brother enough in a selfless way, and he didn't get no money from it. And he trained him from top to bottom, the steak and take business. And Georgia went back and was very successful for a long time, paid all their teachers and everything on time. I'm pointing this out to show selflessness versus doing for self, because nobody has enough money. You could take the mindset, I'll tell you this, but you're gonna have to pay me. Like if you become a owner in a franchise, they want 25, 30% just for you to put their name on a business, and you're gonna run it and do all the work.
Mm-hmm. Let me jump in here because it's something that I think is very good points, Brother Lewis, and definitely both sides, not so much sides, but the conversation I think is just very rich. I think it's beautiful because this is how we kind of dig deeper into what I believe is the psychology of how we're approaching subject matter, but life period as brothers. Sometimes, Brother Carlton, Brother Lewis made a comment from what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said about if one brother has a bowl of bean soup, the other brother has half. He said that this is the law of Islam. See, there's something very important to be understood in that, because you came back with an interesting counter, Brother Carlton, which I find to be very interesting and very pointed, actually. If you have a business, does my brother have half? Now, the thought hit me while processing. I said, what I believe we need to examine and what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was saying is the need factor. The bowl of bean soup represents this two things. It's sustenance. Now, one brother doesn't have anything to nourish, to feed him for his sustainability, for his existence in the totality of his existence. So what he's saying here is no way that you can sit here and eat as a brother, and I'm hungry next to you, I have a need, and I not eat. You see, so what he's saying on one level, now I'm gonna go all the way to the end, because in the duties of brotherhood, Brother Tony, it goes really deep into this. When you start getting into the science of Islam and the science of brotherhood, it really gets deeper than this. And this is what we have to understand. Right. And this is the journey we are on, brother, all the way across the board. So you raised a question. You said, well, you have a business, bro. Do I have half your business, or do I have to get permission? Of course you have to get permission. Of course you have to inform your brother, because your brother wouldn't know any other way unless you inform them of your need. So it may not be in the form of half, because this brother may not have half to give you of that business, because the brother has children, he has family. So his business is divided. So it can't necessarily be half in this instance, but it may be in the form of a job. It may be in the form of yeah, you can invest, brother. If you want, this is how you can participate in benefiting from this. And that is where the law of the principle comes into play, is that I'm obligated as your brother, if you're in need, no matter what the situation. It may not be in the example of the bowl of bean soup, which is a deeply rooted sustenance, but it may be in another way, like, hey, Brother Lewis, I'm hungry. Brother, but brother has the discretion to examine the process, and I'd say, Brother Lewis, but then I inform brother, and if brother's in the position to help me, then brother helps me. You see, so it's a principle balance in it. What I'm hearing from Honorable Elijah Muhammad, because I mentioned this in the book, it is a law. At a certain point in our development now, this is what we got to really, and I promise you we're going to get here. There not going to be a time where a brother will ever have to even ask, because we will be so tuned up to what's going on in the brotherhood, you'll be able to read it. A brother can call me on the phone right now, and I can hear if he hurting. You see what I'm saying? He don't got to be like, little brother, he ain't got to get to the point where he say, let me hold something. I don't even want him to get to that point if I got it. I don't want him to get to the point where he got to ask me. I'd rather be able to like just shoot it at the brother. You know what I'm saying? So he don't have to ask me. If Allah blesses me to do like that, then I'm at my best if I'm tuned up to a brother like that. You see what I'm saying? But we do have to get to a point, and this is where whatever I have is as a brother. Now we're talking about a brother. If I got it, you supposed to have access to it. Nah, that don't mean you come in and take bread off my table. It's within balance, but it definitely means that we should be more open to help each other and participate in a way that we grow. This is a part of the problem we got right now in our rank.
You got brothers that's blowing up, doing amazing things. They won't come and pull a brother. Let me be the street sweeper. Brother, you got a full production going on. You making millions of dollars. You on the internet with your Maybach. You bossing, but you won't give me a loaf of bread, a job, brother. You know what I'm saying, bro. That's the kind of stuff that we gotta eradicate in our brotherhood, man. We got to get to a point. This is what they had prior to 75, even to some degree. The believers didn't go to Savior's Day and stay in hotels. From what I learned, they stayed with each other. So that money stayed in the economy of the brotherhood. It didn't go out to the enemy and the enemy spreading the jelly. We just spent thousands of dollars at a hotel, spending thousands of dollars on their food, taking care of our family. We go to the believer's house. We break bread. We eating bean soup, homemade bread. Muslims glowing, looking good, loving each other, getting to know each other, appreciate each other. That's what we got to get to. We got to get to that kind of brotherhood. We become too commercial. Brother Tony and then Brother Lewis.
Well, I'll let Brother Lewis go first since he was part of that original discussion, and I'll come.
Sir.
Yes, sir. Praise be, brother.
Thank you, beloved.
Again, I gave the steak and take as an example. We underestimate the sharing of intelligence.
Yes.
If I showed you, or Brother Farrakhan showed Brother Rahman how to do it, that's all the average person needs. You don't even need the money. You need to know how to do it. And that's the part, unfortunately, that most of us, like if somebody said, well, how do you build a street or road? You're not going to get that information by just reading a book. Somebody just come and say, okay, I'll come and show you. Come over here for a month. I'm going to show you how to do it. And you go back and make it happen. Minister Farrakhan didn't go back to Georgia and build them 4 steak and takes. Brother Rahman done it, but he had the knowledge then. Can you imagine if some major, and they got these programs out there, Trust and Believe, multi-millionaire mentored you. I'm using money as an example, but it really ain't. But any area that you want to go into, the number one thing you need is mentorship. And you got to submit to it and say, I don't know how to do it. Will you show me? And then after they show you and you got the knowledge, you can go anywhere and do it then. So that was my short point, brother. Thank you, brother.
I still think your point is right on point. I think it's a combination of all these things. You know what I'm saying, Brother Lewis? I think your point is on a whole. If you really just broke down to me how to answer Brother Carlton's question, just show you how the brilliance of the God, how he works. Because you say, well, how do I get half of that business? Coming over there for 5 months, sitting under your tutelage, listening, learning, getting the knowledge. Now you not only got half, you probably got a whole business that you can come over here and go duplicate and benefit from your brother. That's the benefit of the brother. So your point is well taken, Brother Lewis. It's not just the money thing, and I don't want it to be just about the money thing either. It's about intelligence. It's about sharing gifts and talents and experiences and whatever we can get. That's brotherhood, though. That is brotherhood. That's brotherhood.
Most of our people who don't know how to do different things, they're not in the environment to learn how to do it. No one's going to take up the time with them. They're not going to mentor them and show them how to do it. They're intelligent enough to do it, but getting in the environment and getting the experience on how to do it, this is something that they have. We're blessed to be, we wouldn't know how to eat to live or do any of the things. Some of us wouldn't even be into martial arts or any of the things that we got into had we not had the experience to go to the mosque and go through the process and be in that kind of environment.
So that's your half a bowl of bean soup. I think that that's a beautiful way to land that particular point before we transition to Brother Tony, because I think that it's important. My half a bowl of bean soup may not be in the form of necessarily the physical bowl of bean soup. It may not be in the form of money, but it may be in the form of whatever it is that I have to offer of myself as a service or knowledge to my brother. That could be considered the half a bowl of bean soup. I remember, and I'm saying this because in the backdrop of my thought process, I was listening to what's my brother Abdullah 1155, is it 1155 Abdullah? Help me remember his
Yes,
name.
sir. That's it. That's it.
Yeah,
Yep.
brilliant, brother. They say when you want to build your mosque, listen to him prior to 75 because he was just, they call him Islam John, I think is what they call him. But
Yes, sir.
anyway,
John
you know,
Shabazz.
John Shabazz, but he would teach, you know, and he was dropping something. So I've been digging into these crates trying to find all these, because the meat it's a meat that we done left on the bone. Anyway, he said, why is it that we haven't updated what we have in the lessons? He said the 17 million, you know, in our lessons, there's 17 million Black people. He said it's since the 30s, it's evolved. There's way more than 17 million people. He said, and this is what he dropped, which was so profound, because he was using the purchase of New York, and he was using this as an example, and he talked about what they gave for the purchase of New York. And he said the problem is we don't understand, we're looking at the number, but we don't know the meaning of what he's saying. The meaning of it is what we have to come to. What is the meaning of the 17 million that the Savior is talking about? He wasn't just talking about the number of people, 17 million. What was the meaning of what he was saying with regard to what was being stated in that lesson? That's what we have to crack. It's the same thing we have to crack when we look at what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said. If one brother has a bowl of bean soup, the other brother has half. What's the meaning of that? What is the meaning of that principle that he's sharing with us? He's trying to get us out of this very thing, alhamdulillah, that we're talking about, brother. That is selfishness. That's he's trying to help us eradicate and overcome the disease of selfishness. Is one of the things that we can, I believe, we can humbly assess and draw from that instruction. Stop being selfish. This is your brother. Make sure he good. You know, he come, make sure he eat, make sure he's taken care of. That's the basic rudimentary, you know. But Brother Tony and then Brother Hoyle.
Oh, you can let Brother Hoyle chime in because he hasn't got a chance to speak on the topic.
Yes, okay. Thank you, Brother Tony.
Yes, sir.
So generous.
Assalamu alaikum, soldiers.
Wa alaikum salam, Brother Hoyle.
Yeah, beautiful. I'm just sitting back. I got in kind of late, just getting off work, and I said, "Man, your brother's cooking on here.
It's cooking, man."
Praise be to Allah. You know, I look at it and I kind of think about it, and it kind of hurts me, brothers, when I see the division of family, brotherhood. And there's some brotherhood that's tight, you know, the FOI is tight because we're the example. But, you know, I was looking at this editorial in this latest paper, brothers, and it was talking about the desperate measures of our open enemy. And I keep thinking, I said, well, you know, it's going to take a circumstance to really just get us, to kick us to really get into those different phases that you brothers were talking about. All of them are beautiful. And we're going to have to implement all of them. And one of them, brother, and this is so powerful. He says, as long as the children of Israel saw Pharaoh as a friend, they could not see Moses and Jehovah as their true friend. As they came into consciousness.
Brother Hoyle, because I love when you read. I just want to make sure I hear you good. So make sure you're closer to your mic so we can hear you good.
I'm sorry. Got the phone because I had to redo my Zoom. They made me update it, so I had to put a picture back in there. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, the way you were when you first started talking was great, but I don't know what shifted. But yeah, I can still hear you. But
okay, is that better?
That's much better, sir. Yes. Sir.
Okay, thank you, sir. Anything that make it work, because it's a beautiful show. It says, as long as the children of Israel saw Pharaoh as a friend, they could not see Moses and Jehovah as their true friends. As they came into consciousness by the wicked things that Pharaoh continued to do against them, that Pharaoh was indeed their enemy, then Moses and Jehovah called to them to separate from Pharaoh to build a nation of their own, and then that became a reality. As long as we see America and her wealth as something that we want, we will never leave Pharaoh. As God's hand touched the wealth of Pharaoh, it is now touching the wealth of America. As the black man and woman become more awakened to the wicked machinations of the government, the aim is the same today. We should never be free of their influence and power. And it says, as Abraham Lincoln said, if there is to be a superior position, he would rather that the superior position be assigned to the white race. That the superior position must be protected by those who believe in white supremacy, and they will do everything in their power to sure that this position will always be throughout generations. And I'm gonna tell you what is very important. What he said. He said, white folks. He said that this is just one of them. He said there's a deliberate. Listen, Brother Mike. He said there's a deliberate targeted an attack on anything Black folks attempted to for us by us. The white dermatologist, along with the what is described as the conservative advocacy group, had the nerve to file a federal lawsuit against the online platform Find a Doctor. This lawsuit alleges that racial discrimination because of directory limits its physician listings for Black doctors and dentists. Studies have proven that the Black patients receive better care from Black healthcare professionals. It is highly doubtful that this white dermatologist has the desire to truly care for treatment of Black patients. And it says white folks will still control the wealth and lever of the power in politics, business, academia, and are dusting off the tired, non-existent reverse racism, reverse discrimination card as a last resort to hold on to power that they see they are losing their grip on. And just like that, in the past, they are using the tools at their disposal in various levels of government to get a business on the power. So they, their time's up, and that's why you see that what Honorable Elijah Muhammad says, fiery serpent, the angry white man. This is being shown every day. White folks, so it's going to force us to really just bring that love into that brotherhood. We talk about half of a being soup, wanting for our brother what we want for the second. But these circumstances gonna make us bring that love in,
Absolutely.
And we need all of that. Like you say, everybody asks questions. So, how was it so successful in the first resurrection? Well, that fiery serpent was out. You know what I'm saying? He lulled us to sleep with integration. It was a hypocritical trick.
Absolutely.
We thought we were, rid of the white folks. And now, it's over with now. We ain't got for 2 or 3 years of this madness, brother. So it's going to force us to bring this best brotherhood out. We got a great example of brothers here, especially in the South. This panel here, and along with others, and I pray we be example along with the brothers in the nation. We can go ahead because we're the forefront, believe it or not.
Absolutely.
Because we got Master Farad Muhammad, Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and Mr. Lewis Farrakhan. But I just put my little 2 cents in there.
Well, thank you, brother.
And then let Brother Tony and all the Lewis and John and yourself go down and throw these flames because it's getting hot in here.
Well, we want you to continue to weigh in because we appreciate it, brother, and we definitely appreciate you bringing. Yeah, and we appreciate you bringing. Yes, sir. But we appreciate it. Yeah.
All right,
yes, sir.
Love y'all.
Love you too, brother. But yeah, don't go nowhere. But we appreciate you fueling us with the literary word, because that helps to enhance all of our intelligence and bring other thought and energy into the conversation. But one thing I want to say, and when we think about this Caucasian, it's something very important to reflect upon. He is a byproduct that one of our scientists brought out of us that we did not know what was in us. He is the personification of everything that we should not be. You understand? So everything about him, the Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan said in the Torchlight for America, that he was greedy, he had inordinate self-interest, he had vain and inordinate self-interest. That was the indications of his own demise, is these diseases. All we have to do is study his behaviors and avoid being anything like that. And we will start to find ourselves back moving toward our true nature. That's something I just wanted to say that, because when you mention that, I'm like, what we're looking at is the worst part of ourselves. It ain't even about him so much as it is about us identifying that that's the weakest part of ourself in human form, in behaving in human form. And you're right, integration was the problem, because it caused us to not realize who the enemy was. In Pride of 75, they knew exactly who the enemy was. They were under direct duress, direct attack, mistreatment from the enemies. It forced us to be better brothers toward one another. Now it's a whole different program. We got the internet. we got so many false representations of unity and love and all this mess, which is not true. But I want to move fast, going right over here to Brother Tony, because he's been waiting for a minute patiently.
Oh yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. You know, I ain't never in no rush, bro. I enjoy it all. You know, and
I know that's right.
you know, you know, just on the heels of what you just said, though, I thought it was important on what Brother Hoyle shared with us, because the point that you made of us understanding the reasoning behind the creation of the white man is so significant. And sometimes we do ourselves a disservice because we tend to only look at this great body of work given to us by God himself. We only look at it through the eyes of theology. And modern theology is designed for an elementary expression of the higher sciences. It's not a high science. It reduces high science into a format which people who can't grasp those higher sciences can understand. So it reduces astrology, geometry, botany, all of these great sciences down to childlike expressions and fanciful illustrations to capture the mind of the ignorant so that you can convey complex sciences to them. So it's just like when you're teaching a child, you want to start to introduce them to advanced math, you start to teach them word problems like the Savior gave us in the Supreme Wisdom lessons, as you had mentioned yourself, talking about Minister Abdullah, formerly John Shabazz, how he said, why didn't we update them? And the reason why that's key, and I'm glad that you pointed that out, is because when we look at when you are advancing people's understanding in the sciences of life, like with a child in elementary school, you give them word problems when you want to introduce them to complex math. And for example, Brother Lewis has 10 apples. Brother Carlton came by and borrowed 3 apples from Brother Lewis. Brother Michael saw that Brother Lewis had 10 apples and Brother Carlton came and borrowed 3 apples, but because of Brother Lewis's generosity, Brother Michael gave Brother Lewis 8 more apples. Brother Lewis is ecstatic because now he has more apples to share with his brother. He shares the rest of his apples with his 5 other brothers. How many apples does Brother Lewis and his 5 other brothers have? Do you see what I'm saying? See, people get caught. See, in theology, you will get caught up with the story and not realize there's still a problem to be solved. How many apples does Brother Lewis and his 5 other brothers have? You see what I'm saying? So we never solve the problem that is given to us in these theological scriptures. We just get caught up in telling these fanciful stories time and time again. And that's why brother, I like to call him a doctor. You know, I love his wife, Sister Alicia, who shared with us his writings when we went and visited him before he passed. And he should be considered a doctor in theology because he's a wonderful brother. But Minister Abdullah, he was talking about the advancement of the lessons that we were given, because if you do not advance them, then we do not grow closer and closer to the understanding of where God wanted us to be. Remember, not only did the Savior himself say that these lessons were very near correct, and you know that in mathematics you have no answer that is near correct. Either it's right and exact or it's incorrect. But he said these are what he was saying by saying it's near correct. He's saying these are acceptable for right now. But even the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said he answered them when he was a baby. So we can't still take baby language and think we're going to be able to tackle these higher sciences if we keep communicating in that way. And so to get to the point that Brother Carlton and Brother Lewis and yourself, Brother Michael, was talking about when we were talking about that law that you mentioned, that it is a law that if I have a bowl of bean soup, my brother has half of it, because it's the principle of what the minister said, that every human need is a human right. So we're talking about the right that a person is supposed to have, not so much the material things, you know what I'm saying, but the right that the human being needs to have, like Brother Lewis alluded to, that they need the knowledge. We need the knowledge in order to build the restaurant. I don't need to come in and take over half of your restaurant. That's a human need, to have the knowledge to be able to function in a capacity where I can survive in a competitive environment like you're surviving and providing for you and your family. And I'll close on this point, because Brother Lewis asked a question earlier, and it made me think about Malachi 3:8 when it says, will a man rob God? See, we always talk about Malachi and God saying he was going to send his messenger, Elijah, but in there, God is asked, will a man rob God? And he said, you have robbed me, because you use my name to get the tithings from the people, and you did not put them in the storehouse to prove me. Listen to God's anger now. He said, you could have proved me by taking all of those things that you gained in my name, those monies, those tithings that you gained in my name, put them in the storehouse. He said, I would have opened up heaven for you if you would have proved me to be true, but you have making me a liar to the people, because you're getting these things in my name and you're not doing the things that I ordered you to do with them. This is why he said you're not keeping my ordinances. And I think that's why the Nation of Islam is in the condition is the forerunners that we are in, but we're falling, as you mentioned, Brother Michael. You said we should have been advancing so far than we are now. But the minister said that in 96, he said we should have been making greater and greater gains, but instead we're falling further and further behind those of us who have been, who are the beneficiaries of all these wonderful prophecies of the former prophets. We should have made greater strides than they made, but we're falling further and further behind. Why are we falling further and further behind? One, as Brother Lewis always mentions when he comes on, is that we have not atoned properly. That's a big part of it. We have not atoned properly. And we have not attempted that reconciliation with the God that qualifies us to do what? Be helpers in his work. And this is why he says, Jesus said, count the cost, man. See, you count the cost before you put your hands to the plow, because he who puts his hand to the plow and looks back is not worthy. You cook, you're not worthy to do the work. And that's what has happened. Many of us have put our hands to the plow, not understanding what the work was, because we didn't have, as the book says, proper teachers to instruct us. See, people have to be reconciled properly to this work. This is a hot potato. You will drop this thing. But if you have proper instructors who are training you, you will know that even if you got to hold your position and you ain't making no movement, you never abandon your post. You see, you're going to be always aware that you have to take charge of your post at any given time. You might be commanded to go. You see what I'm saying? And so it might look like you're not making progress. Like God told Elijah to go to the widow's house and lay low for a while. Sometimes we do have to lay low, but he knew when the call of God came, it was time to get activated. That's why, Brother Mike, you said when you laid low for a while, but the God put it on your heart, now you got to come out with, we must first be brothers. Brother Lewis laid low for a little while. He said, man, I've been working, I've been providing for my family. I got to get out here. I know too much. You see what I'm saying? You know when it's time to get activated, because what did the God say? My sheep know my voice. A lot of people can come talking, but when you hear the voice of God and you say, okay, my brother's saying something, that ain't him saying something, that's God saying something to me. He might not know it, but I know it, because I know my father's voice. The sheep know their father's voice. You see what I'm saying? And so that is where we are at in this precarious position right now, because not only did J. Edgar Hoover say that the greatest threat to Black America, to white America, was Negro unity, he said something more dangerous that we seldom take a look at. He said that we have more agents in their organizations than they have believers.
Wow.
So we have to be, and he said they're not hostile. What is their motive now? Because he gave us the playbook to do nothing and to allow nothing to be done.
Yes.
So you're not going to come against somebody who is going to be a snake and spit in your face and shove you and push you around. They just passive. They're just passive, and they want you to be passive. Do nothing and allow nothing to be done. That's why when everybody, sometimes you have a bright idea, you come and say, brother, why aren't we doing this? Oh, well, let me check with such and such and so, and I'll get back to you, and never get back to you. You see what I'm saying? And you're wondering, man, brother, I put that out in the air 2 years ago. I put that out in the air 6 months ago. Why ain't we moved on that yet? Oh, brother, I ain't heard nothing back yet. See, you got an agent in there.
Yes.
But if we're
an
not
agent,
wise, we have to be harmless as dove, but wise as serpents. We have to know how the serpent moves. If you don't know, he will sling in there. He will bite you. You will become numb. You will sit there and you will die in that chair thinking that you're bearing witness to the truth. And all of the time, our Lord is frowning upon us because we did not prove him. You know, God never, and I'll end with this, brother. God never tells us to go anywhere where he has not gone before us. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said he's gone before you and made friends. When he told Moses to build the ark, he didn't tell Moses to go into the ark. He said, come into the ark. Why? Because I'm here with you. I'm not going to let this thing sink. You see what I'm saying? He told Daniel and the Hebrew boys, he didn't say, go into the fire. He said, what? Come into the fire. Because I'm in here with you. I ain't going to let it burn you. I'm going to make sure it's cool for you, baby. I don't care how hot they turn this thing up. That's why when they looked in there, they said, I thought you put 3 in there, but it was 4 in there, and it was one who looked like the Son of Man. You see,
come
you
on,
see
brother.
Teach. We got to know, man. He's walking with us, man.
With
and no matter how hot it get, we have to prove that to the world today, and everything he'll open up for us. Assalamu alaikum, brothers.
Walaikum salam. Beautiful, 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 powerful, powerful, brother. You know, and it made me think about the scripture where, you know, they would be saying, Lord, Lord, you know, and he will say, get from me, you workers of iniquity, for I know you not.
Come on.
You know, and there's some out here that we've been put in this kind of position. You make an excellent point. And this is why when the brothers step out and do something a little different, it's challenged as being sometimes against, or it's challenged as being outlier, or they're not with us, they're not in this. No,
Come on, man.
The minister said after 10 years in this process, he said, you should be ready to take on the world. What does it look like? It's millions of our people out here that need to hear what we have coming out of our mouth right now. My prayer to the Savior, I said, Lord, bless us to have a good communion. But I'm also praying, I said, help us for future generations. So what we may be saying now may be impactful for future generations of brothers that might listen to us. I'm sitting here listening to just the brilliance on this call. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I'm like, it blows me really deeply in my soul to just bear witness to the beauty and the brilliance that we have on this call, the intelligence, the know-how. This is what it takes to build a nation. You got a brother Lewis, who's done amazing, who's extraordinarily knowledgeable and land literate that can teach the whole nation, brother. Not just teach a few people on a phone call, bro, on a Zoom call, who can teach a whole nation of brothers and help them organize and how to get something done from A to Z. So you're right, brother Tony. We got it. This is why these kind of conversations are so important, because it exposes that we have agents and agent provocateurs who are operating from the same playbook of our enemy, which is a selfish playbook for the special interest of an enemy and not for the interest of our God and our people and what we need to advance us as a whole. What the hell? That's why we should be way more advanced than what we are now. How are you going to be taught by a man like Farrakhan for the many years that we've been taught, or the Honorable Elijah Muhammad? I'm listening to wisdom of his students. I'm listening to Jabril, and I'm listening to Abdullah, and I'm listening at him talk, quote things that Honorable Elijah Muhammad said. He said, "Oh, the flood that happened with Noah." He said, "Oh, you go in the supermarket right now." At that time, he said, and there's a product in the supermarket that costs 39 cents that could cause that same flood. He said, but I ain't gonna. Are you listening to what I'm trying to say to you? Listen, this is the kind of wisdom that we've been exposed to. But look at what we are producing from the kind of wisdom that we are exposed to. You see, so we have to go to work, and that's why these kind of conversations are so important, because they're exposes selfishness. A brother come on the call and somebody will come up to the brother, "Oh, you over there with them? They don't believe." I mean, what the hell is you to say what somebody stand on, bro? Who is you? Because I don't serve up under your discretion of thought process, which is a selfish, egotistical mindset that you feel like you got a lord over another black man. You're not listening to what Elijah Muhammad said when he said that the black man was God. That's why I respect everything any brother has to say, even some things that don't line up. That's okay. That's maturity, man. We don't have to always line up perfectly in order for there to be harmony. And brother, sometimes that agitation is the very thing that will help us to move to the next level, that will create the proper environment and mixture for something bigger or greater to be gained from that process. That's what the God did. He made a whole devil. The lesson say, why did he make devil? You see, he allowed a whole enemy to come on the scene and wreak all this havoc for what? So that we can be made into an entirely new people. There is no people like us on earth. Trust and believe. And that's because of what we have gone through, what we have experienced. Brother Daryl, I see your hand up, brother. Your mute is on, Brother Daryl. You dropping all kinds of science out there. We want to make sure we get it.
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum, brothers, again.
Wa alaikum salam.
Man, it's a wonderful discussion. I want to go back to Brother Lewis' question. He said, is unchecked selfishness the beginning of a criminal mentality? And in a word, I would say yes. Just listening and whatnot, and my own thoughts, we must have balance and boundaries. Anything out of balance is out of order. I'm talking about the order of God, the order of truth and righteousness. But Brother Lewis brought up another point earlier when he said something about construction. All construction must have a benchmark to go from.
Yes.
And we know that benchmark is truth. We know that benchmark is Allah, Master Farah Muhammad, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And that benchmark is what will govern the behavior, our behavior. But I want to go back to another point the brother brought up about that bowl of bean soup. Is it half my brothers? And when we apply that to a business, I'm thinking that we are assuming that business is prosperous. We're assuming that business is doing well. But we learn in Islam that Islam is mathematics, and mathematics is Islam. So if my brother's business is in a cycle that's experiencing a downturn or is in debt, is half that is my
come
brother,
on.
You know what I'm saying?
You cooking now?
You cooking?
Mathematics. So if my brother's business is in trouble, is in a downturn of a cycle, is my brother's debt, is his debt, half his debt my debt?
Go ahead, man.
And in the spirit of Islam, I say yes. How? How do we address it? We run a special. We have a fundraiser in the community because we generate the business and sales to save my brother or sister's business. That's all I want to say.
Brother, you teaching.
Man, you teaching, bro.
All praise be to
Lord of mercy, praise be to Allah. That's what I'm saying. It's amazing how Allah can take a conversation, allow us to have a certain conversation, but to bring that thing all the way back around to what you just said is powerful, because we don't look at all the angles. And that's an angle, brother, that is just profound to me. Brother Lewis.
opportunity. Did you hear me?
Yeah, I can now. Okay.
That was so powerful, Brother Daryl.
Powerful.
That was very powerful, because I do believe that laziness is a manifestation of selfishness also.
Oh, yes. Yes.
You know, oftentimes we could do more for ourselves than what we do, but we're so lazy.
Yeah.
And I mean, it hurts to say it, but I'll say it a nicer way.
Say it.
We don't put forth an effort. And there's a tendency to think of a person who just drives and drives and drives and pushes themselves. Because you got to understand, the minister said that self-improvement is the basis of community development. He didn't say self-improvement is the basis of our development. It is, but he put emphasis on the community.
That's the result.
And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that the current condition of the Black man, he said he had to be completely re-educated. He said we weren't fit in the state that we're in to even justify being among the civilized people. So there's a laziness component that is rooted in selfishness. Did you know that there are men in previous generations who would pick cotton all day long and then take all of their money home to feed those 13 children that went off to college or went off to do good in life? None of them were involved in criminality because the family was interdependent. See, like, we have biological brothers and sisters now that there is no connection to, because we're not circumventing around the same truth. And the spirit of family, if we don't pick up that benchmark, Brother Daryl, that I'm talking about, and I'm talking about God himself being the center, then we lose the peace. We're captured by the selfishness and the individualism. I got to get mine. And that's the way we are out here now. Many of our people, I got to get mine. And so what happens is you lose your ability to feel anything for your neighbor. How you going to love your neighbor? You don't care nothing about your neighbor. You rob your neighbor. You steal from your neighbor. You molest your neighbor's children. See? Oh, because my appetite needs to be fed. My ego needs to be fed.
Teach.
I need to be the center of everything. I don't care about the contributions of the other people. This is not the Brother Michael, Brother Lewis show. We thoroughly enjoyed every comment from Brother Tony, Brother Carlton, Brother Daryl, Brother Hoyle, and anyone in the listening audience. Sister, is it Amatullah?
Amatullah, yes.
She's a servant. She's a Black woman, but always trying to help her brothers. See, selfishness is, see, there were women who helped Black men get to the Million Man March.
That's right.
When Minister Farrakhan asked us to take a pledge, it wasn't about us. He asked us to atone to our women and our children. See, we got to rid ourselves. And I'm so glad Brother Michael had the vision to do the show and to take up these real topics that are impediments to our development. You know, ego and vanity and envy and all of these things are what are really holding us back, because we have the talent, we have the money, we got to build the will, and we got to be willing to deny some of ourself and pick up our cross and follow the good master that is among us, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, so that we can be a real nation. You can't be, you know, we mentioned, I think someone mentioned George Washington. And I have a passion for history. But do you know how many Caucasians and others died for this country in order for this country to come into existence? In order for their nation, they lost 2,000 years right there in the hills and cave sides of Europe. Sacrifice is necessary. Self-denial, not self-negation. None of us should negate ourselves. We are important. Don't make no mistake about that.
Teach, brother.
See, slavery
Teach.
negates the self. And that's the reason why I always mention that there's a difference in being a slave and a servant. We are servants. We are not slaves. Nobody on here is required to negate themselves. However, in order to make your family successful, your community successful, your nation successful, we have to deny ourselves and pick up what the minister taught us and share that with others the way he shared it with us. If he would have just been doing for selfishness, why didn't he just go play his violin somewhere? White folk love the violin. He'd have had more money than he got now, as charismatic as he is. He gives his money to us. I have a testimony one day I'll give about Minister Farrakhan and how much money he gives to believers in secret and don't want no recognition for it.
Right.
He put all of the things up that the nation, he put it in the name of the nation. It's not even in his name. How many of us would have done that? You go look at these preachers. Those churches are in their name. They give the church as an inheritance to their children and to their sons a lot of times, even if the boy don't have the Spirit of God in him nowhere. He drinking and smoking and inherit a whole church. Not the minister.
Right.
Not the minister.
Beautiful, 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 brother Lewis. Thank you so much, beloved. And I think I was just sitting here again, appreciative. I'm grateful to Allah that we have such a beautiful assembly of minds engaging in this conversation, brother. As I'm listening to you, my brother, and I'm listening to other brothers on this call, and I'm just very grateful. Coming to you, Brother Hoyle, super grateful to Allah because he chose all of us to do this, you know, and I need for that to be impressed upon all of us, you know, and I'm grateful that he gave us the energy and the drive to do it. But I know 1,000% that he chose us all to do this work that we're doing in this very moment with this discussion. And it is effective, and it will continue to grow because we have to talk on this level. We have to talk and engage on this level as brothers, you know. And you know, I was thinking, you know, you mentioned Abraham. Some mentioned Abraham Lincoln, mentioned George Washington, mentioned some of the founding fathers of this country, you know. And you got to understand, they paid a price. Nothing comes into fruition. You said something, Brother Lewis, and I think it's important to take note of because that half a bowl of bean soup don't come from you being a lazy brother. You know, the operative foundation. In so many ways, we breaking this thing down, brother. I'm just telling you, it is the operative word for this transaction. This transaction, the setting of this transaction is brotherhood. If one brother, in all of what it means to be a brother, has a bowl of bean soup, and the other brother does not, then that brother has had. See, so the foundation that makes that contract, that binding, is the principles of brotherhood. Not some lazy person who just want to eat off your table. Not somebody who want to take responsibility, because we have a lot of that. And, you know, and we have a lot of that in the ranks sometimes where, you know, exactly. And you got, and I think I put it in the book, you know, that in the We Must First Be Brothers, is one of the principles about not taking advantage of the kindness of your brother. You know, you got some brothers who are charitable, but some brothers who will just sit there and eat and eat and eat and eat and eat off the brother. You're violating the principle of brother and give nothing in return. You know, that's why I said when I mentioned Brother Tony's a very brother earlier. Brother Tony bought my oldest daughter, and you know we were some struggling Muslims. You know, the first, and we always talk about it, but I make big over it because I'm always so grateful. You know, he brought my baby girl, my oldest daughter, over 30-some years ago, her first outfit. I remember we were walking around in the mall. Brother Tony was just that kind of brother. You know what I'm saying? But you don't, a brother that's kind like that, a brother like yourself, brother, and other brothers who may have resources or access to resources. We don't know what you got, but whatever. We know your heart. And so what you know, when you see the heart of a man like that, you always honor that heart. You never take advantage, because that is also a selfish act to take advantage of your brother. I got good friends who have been very generous and kind at times in our lives, because some of us may just not have that bag at times. You hit, you up, you down, especially in entrepreneurial life, in any business. But the point is, that's the brother helps pick up a slack, not for you to just feed off the brother. And that old proverb, it's better to teach a man how to fish, than to feed him. You know what I'm saying? Because he'll be able to feed himself forever. And I'm jacking it up. But Brother Hoyle, I'm sorry, I'm coming right back to you, black man.
Mic up, Brother Hoyle. We don't hear you that well.
Yeah,
close to the mic, Brother Hoyle.
Can you hear me better?
Yeah, get close, whatever you can to get close to that mic like you had initially. It was good.
Bad reception in it. Mr. Farrakhan told us don't lean on our brothers.
Right.
Don't lean. Like you said, take advantage. Because we got a lot of brothers that will do that. They'll get too comfortable. And Mr. Farrakhan said, the path is clear. The U.S. government and white folks have shown us who and what they are. And he said, the question is, do we really believe that? And then also I wanted to add to that, brother. Mr. Farrakhan said, study the white man, and because he makes no excuses. And we were talking about love and unity. When I travel, brothers, I go. Sometimes I stop at this Amish place, and I just study the Amish. And they're very, they help each other. They build houses and whatnot, and you just see that community with that group. The children, and then the restaurants. They like organic food. They grow their own food and whatnot. But you see that unity. Even though they they have their strict rule. You got the Amish and the Mennonites. The Mennonites. I think it's more Mennonites, and the Amish are more in that Pennsylvania region and up north. But the Mennonites is down here in the south, and they're all over though. But you see that unity. They come together. If somebody's married, they all put chip in and help the bride and the groom. Like we were talking about, if our brother needs something, that's that community love. And I'll give you another example. This is kind of off, but I look at the SAC, the Southeastern Conference. Everybody wonder why the Southeastern Conference in football and basketball is so they keep having the money to buy the players and have so rich. They circulate that money. They circulate that money in that pool of so it's just little examples that we need to study as a people, because they've killed every desire, the group unity. Just remember unity, economic unity, and family. That's the biggest. They work 24/7 to keep us, divided. I know they want the population, but they want to keep us with foolishness. They want to keep us distracted. Sport and play, just keep us away from, our goal, which is the nation, building a nation. But beautiful topic. I just want to throw my 2 cents in. I hope y'all could hear it. Yes,
Thank you for your 2 cents, brother. You keep building with that 2 cents. We're gonna have $1 in a minute. It's gonna take us a minute, but we're gonna get there, brother. But we appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
I just want to give a shout out to Brother Noor. I see him on the line. Good to have you on the call, beloved. I feel your energy, and you ain't even said nothing. But if you like to say something, we more than welcome you, brother, to chime in if you like. But we definitely want to just say thank you for your presence, man. It's always just to see your mark, what you call it, your face on the screen is good. So appreciate you, Brother Noor. Okay. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, sir.
Yes, I was busy. I was
Okay. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. It's always a pleasure to hear my brothers.
Yes,
on here,
sir.
man. I came in late because my sister is in the hospital, and
Oh
I was
man.
on the phone with her for a while.
Oh
But
man.
praise be to Allah, she's doing a
Praise be
lot
to her.
better.
She doing better? Good. Praise
Yes,
be to
sir.
Allah. That's good to hear. Yes,
And
sir.
she should be home tomorrow, if not the next day.
Yes, sir. Praise
Yes,
be
sir.
to Allah. Well, that's good to hear, brother. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. We'll definitely keep her in our prayer, you know, and your family.
Thank you,
And
beloved. Thank you.
yes, sir. Thank you for being here, black man. You know.
Man, it's always a pleasure. Just to feel the spirit and get the spiritual high is just
Yeah.
awesome.
Praise be to Praise be to
You know,
Allah.
a lot of times
Praise
I
be
don't
to
have nothing to say, but I just listening.
Yes,
And
sir.
yes, sir. And I definitely will make a better comment at times. I just sometimes I
But
be into my day. You know, when it
yes.
come on,
Yeah.
it's like 5 o'clock where I'm at. I'm in Las Vegas, so
Oh, okay. Okay.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You at the you at the beginning of the day. Okay. Well, yeah.
Right.
All
So a lot of
right. All right.
times when I'm like,
Yeah.
that's right, it comes on at 7 in
Yeah.
Houston.
Right. Right. Right.
So I'm trying to spread it, amongst my brothers and
Yeah.
different other brothers that I know, and some of them kind of, you got to pull them a little bit
Yeah. Yeah.
to do
Take
certain
time, brother.
things.
Yeah.
And
We yeah.
so yes, sir, it's
Great.
always a pleasure.
Thank you so
Yes,
much,
sir.
beloved. Appreciate you so
Yes,
much.
sir.
Yes, sir. I brothers, thoughts were raining in my brain, on this subject. We've been on Brother Lewis, because you really kind of inspired. We in earlier conversation. I don't know if you remember. You was like, brother, you know what the problem is, brother. So I said, well, part 4 it is. So that's how we got here tonight. But
Just to make a short comment before I leave the office.
Yes.
Brother John was on that call.
Oh
John
yes,
Muhammad.
yes, Brother John. Yes,
and
sir.
John is actually a nurse, but John has taken care of many sick members in his family.
Yes.
And his sister is having some health
Yes.
challenges
Thank you for
also now.
mentioning
Brother
that.
Noor, you know, we don't
Yes,
think
sir.
of it as macho, but we need to start praying for each other more as brothers.
Yes.
I mean, John would be on this call tonight, but he's
Yes.
serving his
Yes.
sister and his family.
That's right.
But
That's right.
we with what we go through every day, and to look as good as we look, Brother Noor, Brother Hoyle, and Brother Tony, Brother Michael, and
Yes, sir.
Praise be to
Brother
Allah.
Daryl, and to have a sane mind in this kind of crazy world, we are walking miracles.
Yes.
And we should pray that Allah continues to bless us and guide us. And if it's a brother who couldn't make the show tonight, it's okay.
That's right.
But they are in our prayers. And Brother Michael, that incredible book you wrote,
Praise be to
We
Allah.
Must First Be Brothers.
Praise be to
We
Allah.
got to make it popular. See, selfishness will make us not do it, but we got to make it popular.
Yes.
Loving each other and praying for each other.
Yes. Yes.
Not praying
Teach.
on each other.
Teach, brother.
But actually praying for each other's success. Listen to this. If one of us really hit, we put the other ones on.
Yes.
You heard what I said? If one of us really hit, and by God's grace, some of us are going to hit because we're working and striving. And like Sister Ava said, we are the winners. But we're going to have to go claim our belt back. And the way to do it is to build each other up. Don't be afraid to pray for another brother. Pray for his family. Pray for God to give him more knowledge and wisdom and understanding. Ask Allah to bless him to see it through. And if there's a little boy or a little girl in your neighborhood that don't have a father or a brother or uncle or a cousin or just a good friend, since Allah has blessed us to clean up and we're not pedophiles, we're not here to do evil to our people, perhaps we could give that young man some encouraging words and some guidance. Little brother, you're trying to do for self. You selling dope, but that's not the proper way to do for self. We have a better way, and you can earn some money, and you won't go to jail, and you won't kill nobody, and you won't have to be killed. Because a lot of our little brothers, selfishness is why they got a pistol in their pocket. And that's the spirit I was in when I initially talked with you about this, Brother Michael.
Yeah.
Selfishness is why they got a pistol in their pocket. Selfishness is why they sell dope to the people right across the street. Selfishness is why we commit adultery. What? Yeah. You can't want for your brother. You ain't doing for self by doing somebody else's wife, bro. I gotta throw that in there. That's the wrong way to do for self. So we gotta clean up. And I'm not saying it from a self-righteous heart.
Yes.
Right?
It's
Even
true.
though I'm not doing it. But I want to put it out there that we have to have a new mind in how we look at each other. See? We gotta, you created quite a safe space, Brother Michael, and
praise me to Lord.
For brothers to psychologically undress.
Yes.
Because most of the time we wear these big masks, these big macho masks, and we are dying on the inside.
Yes.
And it don't have to be like that, man.
That's right, brother.
One of the scriptures Tony reminded us of, and it's another part of that, you have not because you ask not.
Yes.
Whatever prayer you have in your mind, there is some black man, somebody out there that has the answer to that prayer in their being. Not just in their pocket, in their being. So I love the brothers, and thank you, Brother Michael, for such a wonderful, incredible show. And thank you for not being selfish.
All praise is due to Allah, beloved. Praise be to Allah for the heart He put in us.
Yes,
Walaikum
sir.
salam, beloved.
Praise to Allah.
I just want to jump on the heels of Brother Lewis as we're going to close out, brothers. But I just want to say this because I think you really put a beautiful capstone on what we need to think about as we move forward. And I think that's important, is really being unselfish, being intentionally unselfish is what you're saying. Thinking about the little brother, thinking about the little person that we encountered, the little sister, another brother, just being intentional about being that way with each other is important, brother. We don't have to wear these false flags around here nowadays. And in so doing, you can depart wisdom, because we can create micro safe spaces all over just by being authentic. Once a brother can sense that you're authentic, then you can tap in and drop something and keep it moving, But I also want to say, on the broader scope, let's think about our elders. We got to start thinking in a way that, look, we have to create spaces where we are not allowing our elders to suffer the way that they suffer. We got to be able to create spaces for our women to be taken care of comfortably. We should create spaces where if a brother is hungry, he don't have to be hungry by himself. He don't have to suffer by himself. He got a brothers he can pick up the phone and call, and he don't have to be ashamed because we didn't created a system to be able to help each other. One of the things that used to hurt me, I remember going to some of the pioneers' homes and apartments that I've been blessed to be in, and these people have served. They have served us and did great works, and we let them have to fight their way off the planet, just barely being able to take care of themselves. It should never be that way. And this is the way we have to start thinking in a collective way. I mean, it makes no sense to me that we allow that. So brotherhood is a system that creates institutions that evolve well beyond a conversation. And so I appreciate each and every one of you brothers tonight. And as we close out, man, may the God again pray for Brother John, pray for the family, brother, sister Muhammad Noor, sister, and any other believers that may, just we offer up prayers to Allah and pray everyone is safe. And all of you brothers who are on the call, your families and loved ones, may the God bless, protect, strengthen, guide. And when we gonna get the bag, brother, I'm just telling you already, it's already been put in my soul, in my heart, in my mind. We gonna hit big, brother. And you gonna know when we hit, because we finna do the world tour, brother, of America, helping Black people, brother. So it's all good. Trust and believe, brother. We gonna get it in. You know, we gonna get it in. Because that's all I need money for. I need money for two things: to buy my freedom, and you know, because you gotta buy your freedom, and to do what Allah put me here to do, you know, to do my assignment on earth. Because otherwise, you know, all the comforts and all those things gonna come, but I want to do what He put us here to do, man. And so may the Most High bless my brothers on this call. Thank you for being the elite amongst the Black men on earth, because that's who you are. You are the elite among Black men, the best among Black men, and we carry the assignment and the charge to go after our people. So, you know, I got these songs, man, I'm putting out, man. I'm pushing these songs out here, brother. You know, this whole We Must First Be, brother. We got a whole soundtrack, Black man. So it's all good. But I'll just close it out with this song tune from our project, Brother Be Grateful. You know what I'm saying? So thank you, brothers. May Allah bless you. You want to stay around and listen to the song play out? Thank you. And may Allah bless you and keep you. Peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, brother.
Wa alaikum salam.
Films are the best.
The best. Make salam, sir.
Gratitude, raise your altitude, even when they doubt you. Stand tall, stay true. The world hated us into power. Now we rising every hour. Keep your head up, Black man, my brother. We on our way up. They tried to break us, reshape us, erase us from the pages. Took our names, our language, locked us in mental cages. But still we breathe, still we rise, still we strategize. Turn pain into power, now it's time to realize. Gratitude, the frequency, gotta tune your vibration. Even in the struggle, see the divine demonstration. Every loss a lesson, every fall a blessing. Stand up, chest out, that's a king's progression. You ain't what they told you, you more than oppression. You a builder of worlds, walking in perfection. So when the weight heavy and the nights get long, remember who you are and stay spiritually strong. Brother, be grateful. Brother, be grateful. Gratitude, raise your altitude. Even when they doubt you, doubt you. Stand tall, stay true. The world hated us into power. Now we rising every hour. Keep your head up, Black man, my brother. We on our way up. From the bottom of the bottom where they counted us out. Now we building from within, that's what growth about. They feared our unity, that's why they divided. But truth in the light can't forever be hidden. Grateful for the struggle, it refined the mind. Turn the boy to a man gate, vision to the blind. Now we moving with intention, every step divine. No more waiting on the world, it's our time to shine. We the future in the present, we the answer in the question. We the healing in the womb, we the lesson in the lesson. So I walk with my brothers, elevation, the gold mine, right spirit tight, and we taking control. Even in the dark, I found light. Even through the pain, I gained sight. Everything we went through made us stronger. Now we rising, and we lasting longer. Grateful, brother, be grateful. Gratitude, raise your altitude. Even when they doubt you, stand tall, stay true. The world hated us into power. Now we rising every hour. Keep your head up, Black man, my brother. We on our way up. Don't forget, brother, use your hand, grab your power.
Peace, brothers. May Allah bless you. Assalamu alaikum.